Running, and we're live.
Viva la Brazil. There we go. That's a good entry.
Yes, Brazil is life. Cool, and that's us started. All right, so just a quick rundown of how this all works. We're playing Dungeon World, which is basically just a derivative of D&D, where the rules are light and there's more time for the fun stuff. So it's a 2d6 system, so that's a little different from D&D, which uses a d20. The 2d6 system, you roll 2d6 dice when you're trying to do something. You'll add whatever your modifier is, which is the plus, the smaller number of your stats. Then if you get a 6 or less, then it's a complete fail and terrible things happen to you, which is my favorite option. If you get a 7 to 9, then you get to do the thing you want to do, but there's going to be some sort of complication. So, for instance, let's say you're trying to shove your sword through the orc's eye, so maybe you'll do that, but then maybe he'll, punch you in the stomach, or, he'll spit in your face and you'll contract some sort of terrible orc STD. Then there's the 10 plus, and the 10 plus is you're going to get the thing you want, it's going to be amazing, and there are no consequences. So... and that's the that way there's no so in D&D they have what's called AC, and AC is it's basically the stopgap. It's the DM decides how hard something is, so I don't decide how hard it is, right? The dice completely decide how hard something is, and so then there's no just arbitrary I decide the DC is 1,000. Now there are things you can't do, so if you can't do it, then I'll just tell you can't. If you want to completely demolish the rock monster with a wet noodle, it's just not going to happen, right? That doesn't make sense.
I rolled a lift mountain with my mind.
Right. Unless you have an enchanted wet noodle that has rock slaying on it, and then obviously that would work. But so yeah, and then there's no movement speed, and there's no initiative. So basically. We'll just kind of we'll establish an order based on when you say you're going, and then we'll kind of loosely follow that order when combat starts. And if it makes sense that you're close enough to do something, you'll do it. And if you're further away, then we'll basically resolve one of two things. One, either you'll just take 2 turns to get there, or 3 turns, or however far away you are, or if there's if you're close enough, you might can roll a dex to get there faster and do it immediately. And I'll let you know when all that stuff is. And anytime you have questions, just let me know, and I'll try and help and guide you guys anytime you might feel stressed about what's going on. So, and you just let me know. But mostly we're here to do the dumb and stupid fun things. So, rules come secondary to that most of the time, especially in a one-shot, because in a one-shot you drive like a stollier because your character doesn't matter. Yay. There is leveling up, but mostly you won't do that. Actually, I do want to do a fun little house rule on this one. I will give you basically 1 instant level up token, and that is at any point in the game you can level up once instantly. And if you do so, it grants you full health and gets rid of any status ailments you have. I think that's just a fun little, if you want to go Super Saiyan, essentially you can do it.
Play with reckless abandon.
Right. Yeah, you get down to 1 health and you're like, I would like to choose my level up now. You can do that. Yeah. And then, yeah, your character will go Super Saiyan. And you'll level up and, you'll be awesome for at least a few seconds. And have you guys, and Ellie, I don't think I messaged you. We're going to do level 3, so you can actually add 2 more points. You can distribute them however you want on your stats to the big number. What that could mean is wherever your -8 is, you can add 1 to that, and suddenly it's not a negative or 8. It's not a -1. It's a 0. Or I think there's one stat that's a 15. You could add 1 to that, and it becomes a 16, and suddenly you get a +2. So there's some.
Or you could add 2 to the 16, make it an 18, and get a +3.
That's true. Yep. You got 2 points you can play with there, and then you can choose 2 more abilities off of your character list. So if you go to the second page, I believe it is, it has the sort of levels 1 to 5 things you can choose. So you can add 2 things to that.
Okay, so how does that work? So if I have the 2 extra points.
Yeah.
You mentioned I can make it a +3 if I put it in like Dex, for example. I put it in Dex.
Yeah, so if your dex is a 16, right, you get a
Uh-huh.
+2. The 2 more points makes it an 18, and that'll give you a +3.
Yeah, which is the cap for
Right.
modifier.
Yeah. In this game, 18 is the max. So,
Okay.
yeah, you're basically ensuring that it's very hard for you to fail a dex roll.
Okay. So the modifier underneath in the circle would be +3 for that
Yep.
one.
hmm
Perfect.
So,
Okay.
and yes, like I said, you can get 2 more little skills off of your list, which will give you some more things to play around with. All right. So, I think we'll go ahead and do character introductions, and we'll just find out what's going on. I'll ask you, once you introduce your character, I'll ask you a series of questions to just sort of suss out who you are and what I'm going to use as the plot. So, there's that. All right, cool.
Yes, he's notorious for making us do the work.
Yeah. I mean, lazy GM for life, right? All right, cool. So, Danny, yeah, tell me about your character.
My character's name is Silly Boxshanks, the Paladin.
Smiggly Bumshanks. Is that your given name?
Maybe.
Cool. All right, and what race are you? Sorry.
I'm a hobbit.
A hobbit. Okay, not a Harfoot though. We don't want to traipse on Amazon or anything.
I prefer to walk on my hands.
Yeah. All right. And how did you become a paladin?
Well, I found out about the god of cheese making, and I decided to follow him.
The god of cheese making. What god is that? Does he have a name?
Aristaeus.
Anastaeus.
Aristaeus. It's actually
Aristaeus.
Greek god.
Okay. I just want. How do you spell that?
Aristaeus.
All right. And how did you come to follow this god?
I've always loved the cheese, so why would I not make it myself?
Well, I mean, did someone introduce you to Aristaeus, or did you find Aristaeus on your own?
I found a statue.
Was it a cheese?
In the woods.
Was it a cheese statue?
It was made of cheese and delicious.
And nothing was eating it?
Me?
All right. Do you know who put it there?
Nope. Don't remember anything after the statue. It's like 3 weeks, just blank.
Were you in like a cheese daze?
Making me want more cheese.
Was it like cheese euphoria? Cheese high?
Yeah.
Do you often get cheese highs?
As long as I eat the cheese.
Okay. All cheeses, or do you have a particular cheese?
Cheddar.
Cheddar. Got to make that cheddar. Got it. Do you have parents?
Maybe somewhere.
Okay. Do they worship Aristaeus, the cheese god?
They hate cheese.
Oh.
I hate them.
Oh, so you're like a black sheep a little bit.
An orange.
Yeah. Yeah, an orange sheep. Cool. What weapon are you using?
I'm using a halberd.
Okay. Does it have holes in it like Swiss?
Several.
Yeah. So, if you were to say, we lost Ellie. Oh no. Hope she comes back. All right, cool. So we're just gonna hope she comes back soon. Who is Aristaeus' nemesis? What is the antithesis to Aristaeus? What is the anti-cheese god?
The god of saltines?
They don't go together?
Unfortunately not.
Okay, what god is that?
Stymie.
Stymie, like Stymie?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. All right, cool. Do you did you have any mentors in your cheesiness?
The cheese leads me.
Cheese leads you. Cool. About how old are you?
135.
Okay. 1 second. Let's find out what happened to Ellie. She's messaging. Oh no. She just lost power, apparently.
Oh,
All right. Let's see. 135. Is that old for a hobbit, or is that young? What are we talking about here?
I haven't seen other hobbits in years.
How long has it been since you left home?
135 years.
You left home at the age of 0?
My parents said they hated cheese, and I promptly walked away.
I'm surprised you could even understand the sentiment of hating cheese at 0 years old. It's quite odd. How fast do hobbits mature?
I was mature before I hit the door.
Okay. So you know next to nothing about hobbit culture, I guess.
Precisely.
Yeah. All right. Cool. And have you found other cheese acolytes?
Some here and there.
Okay, but is it not a very popular religion?
Not many adore cheese the way we do.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. What else? You want to tell me anything else about your character this time?
Yes, he is also abnormally short for a hobbit.
So, how tall are you?
1 foot 4 inches.
Yep, that makes sense. You stepped on a lot.
Not with the halberd out.
How big is the halberd?
About 5 feet.
You must be incredibly strong size-wise, anyways.
And my strength is a 16.
All right, cool. What else? What else you want to tell me about your character?
He also has a minor fascination with beekeeping.
With what?
Beekeeping.
Beekeeping. Okay.
Yeah. Fucking Aristaeus is the god of cheese making and beekeeping.
Okay. Is one of those more prevalent than the other?
I went with the first one on the list because I like cheese better than bees.
So you like the cheese more than the bees?
Yes.
Do you
Occasionally make the bees into cheese? Yes.
how?
With the bees cheese maker.
The bees cheese. Got it. All right. So these bee now do you like have a mobile bee farm?
Yes, it's a backpack.
Yeah, it's a bee backpack.
Yes, it's basically 2 planks of wood strapped together with a beehive sitting on it.
Okay. All right, cool. And they don't sting you?
No. They're quite friendly, and they also know they'll die if they do that.
Yeah, well, I think bees don't care about that.
These bees too. They're very emotional.
Yeah.
They're my support bees.
So your emotional support bees. So the restaurants and shopping malls allow them in.
They go back in the hive and wait.
Do they have jackets that say emotional support bees on them?
They have painted it in honey on the side.
Okay, cool deal. All right. Anything else?
No, that'll do it.
All right, cool. Well, because Ellie's lost power, she may or may not be back on. Should she get it back? So we'll run with 2. All right, Zach, how's it going?
Good.
Cool. What's your character's name?
Nicholas.
Nicholas. Like Nicholas, but Nicholas. Nicholas. So, what is your race, age, job, all that kind of stuff?
All right, so my race is a halfling. I'm half elf, half human.
Okay.
What was the second question?
All right. And what's your job, your profession?
Thief.
Is that what you tell people your profession is, or do you tell them something else?
I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay. So if they start asking more questions, do you just try and like subvert the questioning so that like it's vague?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
no one really knows what my
Yeah.
purpose is.
Yeah. You do like I do data acquisition and relocation of supplies.
Right.
Cool. What kind of weapons do you use?
Two twin daggers.
All right.
And a bow strapped to my back.
All right. Cool. All right, a bow. All right. What's your damage dice on that? Are you a D8?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a question, and you can do this if you want to. Because you're dual wielding, you could, instead of using that D8, use 2D4 for your damage if you want. So what that does for you, right? If you use 2D4, that means you can't roll a 1, right? Your lowest roll is always going to be a 2. But it does make it harder for you to achieve the 8, right? So it's kind of a trade-off. You're going to hit more in the middle more often with 2D4. So it's sort of a risk reward. Do you want to play it safe by playing the middle, or do you want to take the equal chance of getting a 1 and 8? So it's up to you.
Let's go 2d4s.
Okay. So that's what I would do too, because like I said, that way you can't roll a 1. All right, cool. So, and that's just housekeeping. So let's see. Were your parents thieves, or is it something you stumbled into?
Something I stumbled into because I was abandoned at a young age.
Okay, tragic backstory. Got it. How young of an age?
In my teenage years, I guess.
Okay. So your parents abandoned you, or did you run away?
My parents died.
Oh no! How'd that
So
happen?
I was left alone, and I had to survive on my own. Had to resort to stealing things to survive.
Yeah. You're Aladdin. Got it.
Yep.
Let's see. When you were a teenager, what did your parents do for a profession before they died?
I don't remember.
Beekeepers. Got it.
Beekeepers, sure.
That's good. All right. So.
Sure. Actually, yeah. Let's go with that. They were beekeepers.
Yeah.
That's how I came to know Smiggly Bumshanks.
Yeah. Okay. Then how did they die?
They got stung by the bees.
Oh no!
The bees turned on them for whatever reason.
It was a bee
I never
accident.
knew the reason why.
Okay, mysterious bee accident. Got it. Cool. And so your thievery came about naturally through just having to like survive, right?
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Did you always do this alone, or did you ever work with like a group of other thieves, or other forgotten kids, teenagers, whatever, on the streets?
Yeah, there was a group of us, kind of like in Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Lost Boys type situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, you were called the Lost Boys. Got it.
Yep.
Lost Boys.
Some were vampires.
Some were vampires. Absolutely. Had great '80s hair. Who was the leader of the Lost Boys?
Kiefer Sutherland.
Keither.
Kiefer. Yep. Another abandoned elf. Another elf vampire.
Maybe Keebler Sutherland.
Keebler Sutherland. There you go.
He was an elf. Yep.
He's an elf with a fondness for cookies.
So I feel like quite possibly one of the reasons you're no longer with your group of Lost Boys, maybe you and Keebler had a falling out. What would have caused that?
What would have caused our falling out?
Yeah.
Let me think here. He went too far to the dark side.
Oh, what did he do?
His lust for blood was too much.
Yeah. Was he drinking blood?
He was drinking blood.
Yeah, ritual sacrifice. Got it.
Yeah, it was too much.
And so you're not down with the ritual sacrifice and blood drinking?
No, it reminded me too much of the death of my parents.
Yeah. Drinking blood.
I couldn't see other parents dying. So it made me sad and depressed.
I have a question. If he's doing ritual sacrifice, was it by chance for Stymie, the god of saltines?
Yeah, it was.
And now Mike has his plot.
Yeah, I
It
know.
was. Yep, there you go. Your creativity led to that one.
Good deal. All right. So let's see. Cool. And did you have any siblings, or are you an only child?
Only child.
Only
Nobody
child.
to fall back on. No
Yeah.
other family.
Yeah. All right. And how old are you at this time?
I'm now 35.
Okay, so it's been some time since that happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Oh no. Yep. Ellie says she hears sirens, so it's probably serious. All right. So let's see.
She's being arrested.
I know, right? She was probably making meth while we were playing, so not really internet, not really. Calm down.
Maybe really. It
yeah.
was blue.
Right. All right. So let's see. What else we got?
It's just Nicholas and Smiggly on a worldwide adventure.
Right. Oh, so those daggers you got. Where'd you get those?
Those were my dad's.
His beekeeping daggers.
His beekeeping daggers, right?
Wait, hold on. Are they just like kitchen knives?
No, they were like actual elven ritual daggers.
Okay, all right. That he was misusing for beekeeping.
Yes.
Now, did you?
You stab the dagger into the beehive, and all the bees go quiet.
Yeah.
Exactly. They were very sticky when I got them. I couldn't figure out why.
It had nothing to do with bees, sir. Nothing to do with bees. Mom was a cold fish. Sorry.
But I found a videotape somewhere.
Now I just imagine your dad just like alone with the bees doing dirty things. Anyways, he's like, honey's a lubricant. No, it's not. All right, cool. What else would you like to tell me about your character at this time?
Nothing else really. Just trying to find his way in the world.
Okay, cool.
Angry at the god of saltines.
Yeah.
Turning my friends against each other.
Right. All right, good deal. All right, so let's see. I guess we can go ahead and do bonds. Pick 2 bonds for each other. Now, you can use the bonds that are on the sheet, or you can entirely make them up. You can be like, Smiggly lost a toe, and like I dressed his wounds, right? I mean, you can kind of make anything you want. So, the ones on the page are there to sort of give you guidance if you want it, but you don't have to use them. Basically, we'll flip flop. So I'll just do one of you and then the other, and then back and forth again. So I'll start off with Danny. Danny, give me a bond.
Yes, well, you see, I've known Nicholas since he was a child, because I lived back in their woods.
Wait, start over. Start again.
I knew Nicholas as a child.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Because the bees.
No, because I lived in the back of their woods.
Okay. So, did you know his parents?
Yes, they regularly told me to get up there.
Yeah. I mean, well, hey, actually, let me ask this. So, Nicholas, which parent was elven and which parent was human?
My mother was my father was the elven, my mother was the human.
Okay. I'm backtracking for a second. Is it pretty common in this world for humans and elves to get together or not?
Not really.
No.
My father was ostracized from the elven community.
Okay, so once he was like, I love this woman, they're like, get out.
Exactly.
Sure, got it. Yeah, that makes sense. You don't want to mix blood like that when you're an elf, for sure.
Right.
Elves are notoriously racist.
Pure.
Right. So, all right. So, let me ask you this: as a half elf, how does the rest of the world treat you?
They treat me like an elf because I look like an elf, but I age like a human.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So they think I'm a child when in reality I'm, 35 years old.
Right.
I'm an adult.
But you look like a teenager or whatever.
Right. Look like a young elf.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. And so, did you feel like your parents, like you didn't like this this 1 foot and 4 inches hobbit on your land, or were you like, it's like, oh, he's all right?
Yeah, so he used to buy me things and give me treats when I was a kid.
Oh.
Mostly cheese.
He would give me, he would come give me cheese, get me high with him. But then he would kick me in the shins and run away. And that's why my dad hated him.
Yeah.
He was just a little bully to little me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you didn't care because you were high at the time.
exactly.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, cool. And then, all right, so yeah, give me a bond for Smiggly.
Yeah, I mean, he was the first person who ever got me high, and it just started my addiction.
Okay, yeah. So you have at least a now. Are you just addicted to getting high in general, or like cheese high specifically?
It started out as a cheese high, but then it was just a gateway to other highs.
Yeah, it's
In the woods behind our house.
cheese is a
Anything
gateway drug. I get it. You start with cheese, then you go to wine, and then suddenly it's crack cocaine. I'm kidding, internet.
No, that's the right order.
Look, Epstein killed himself, and the Clintons are innocent. All right, that's my internet stance, and I stand by it. So all right, all right, cool. So Smiggly, do you get lots of children high?
No, actually, this leads into my next bond.
Okay, let's do it.
I believe that Nicholas has the potential to be a disciple of the cheese.
Okay, so are you trying to convert him to Aristeas?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so is Nicholas responsive to the whole following a cheese god, or does he even believe in gods?
He keeps eating the cheese I give him.
Zach,
What was the question?
does Nicholas is he receptive to being converted to the cheese religion, or does he even believe in gods in the first place?
He is not receptive to it.
No.
He's moved on to better things. He doesn't understand why the cheese is so important to Smiggly.
Yeah. So, well, let me ask this: because your Lost Boys group was broken up because of religious zealousy. Do you dislike all religion, or only just that religion?
Only just that religion.
Okay.
Because Smiggly's just pounded it in me so much over the years. It's just it's just constant chirping.
Yeah.
I just can't stand it anymore.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the people on the side of the road. It's fine. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Do you just kind of just like he just tells you, and you just kind of wave it off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
Okay.
much.
Cool. All right. And you have another bond for Smiggly then? Some others tale to tell of your time together before now?
Let me think here.
Well, let me ask this: why are you together now? Right? Because you're 35, so your parents are long dead. So why are you still hanging out with Smiggly?
So we didn't see each other for many years when I was with the Lost Boys.
Okay.
And he actually popped back up as he was trying to sell cheese to the Lost Boys.
Okay.
I ran into him again over the years, and we just reconnected at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And then once I'd separated the Lost Boys, he was the only person I could remember from my past. That
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still living in his parents' old yard.
Well, hold on. So, was your parent? I mean, in this high fantasy world that we have, is their house like repossession? Were your parents like? Did they default on their loan when they died, or how does that work?
So we lived in a shack in the woods.
Yeah.
We had to live completely away from society because of the whole elf-human interaction.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't accepted by the humans, weren't accepted by the elves.
Yeah.
So we lived in our own plot of land in the middle of the woods.
Okay. So no HOA.
No HOA, exactly.
Yeah. So why not still live there when they died?
It was lonely, man.
Yeah. Okay.
By myself, I just got bored.
Okay. Okay.
There's no technology. I mean, there's no, I can't just pull up an iPad.
Right. Well, so
No internet.
are you aware that Smiggly had been squatting in your old family home?
I was not aware.
Yeah. Okay. Are you aware now, or is this still unknown?
It's still unknown.
Okay. Cool.
It's still an unknown. Yes, unknown.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So Smiggly, why haven't you ever told him that you're like squatting in his parents' like home?
I thought he'd know by the fact that I pop up at his house all the time
Well, he doesn't live at his house, right?
in the middle of the woods.
You're living, I guess, on the streets, as it were.
Yeah, I'm still roaming the streets.
Yeah.
I couldn't go back home after what had happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was totally squatting in his house, or squatting in the woods in their house when he was a kid. So.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and throw some what we're doing here on this. I feel like Nicholas is with Smigley on his cheese route, you probably use the opportunity to swindle people while he's selling cheese, right?
Yeah.
Steal from them, case out their goods, or whatever. So let me ask this then, Smigley, are you aware that Nicholas is a thief and a swindler, or do you think he's just like hanging out with you for good company while you're trying to convert him?
That's a good question.
What's your holy mission, by the way?
My holy mission?
Yeah.
To spread the word of cheese.
Yeah. And then what's the you choosing some sort of boon for that? There's a list somewhere.
Yeah. Let's go with the senses that pierce lies and a voice that transcends language.
Okay. All right. And then how will I punish you, I guess, is the real question. Let me look at the list.
Well, you've got options: forbidden cowardly tactics and tricks,
Yeah.
gluttony in food, drink, pleasure of flesh, required observance of daily holy services, suffering an evil creature lives forbidden, lies forbidden, or to comfort those in need, no matter who they are, required.
Yeah, let's go with the comfort those in need thing, no matter who they are.
Okay.
Hospitality. Yep.
I will give them the hospitality of the cheese.
Yes. All right. Cool. So yeah. So let's say. Make sure we're on the right panels. It's just because I'm on the panel doesn't mean that you're on the panel. Yeah. All right. So you're here in this like sleepy town, and it's actually a place where everyone is from the same family. All right. So all the houses are actually owned by different family members of the same thing. And so you've come to visit. They've got like a little produce stand outside, and you're trying to like, sell them on cheese. Meanwhile, Nicholas is trying to case out and see like what's good for the stealing. Let's say you're at the produce stand and you're talking to the people behind the produce stand, old Smigley. And while he's doing that, Nicholas, what are you doing while he's like chatting up the people at the stand?
So while he's chatting with the people at the stand, like you said, I'm just kind of peeking around the stand to see if there's anything good worth stealing.
Cool.
And I notice a cash register of sorts.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So in this game, something else you can do. There's this move called Discern Realities, and that's something that you can roll to basically gain insight or information on a situation. There's also a move called Spout Lore, and that's when you feel like your character should know something, and you can roll to see how much they know. So for instance, you could use Discern Realities and get a better scope on what the stand has, what the people are like or whatever. Or you could use Spout Lore to say maybe you already know something about this little town. So would you like to use either of those moves while we're here?
Yeah, let's use Discern Realities to get like a general understanding of what the town, what the main big thing of the town is.
Okay. So you'll roll 2d6, and then you'll add your wisdom modifier to that. In the top left-hand corner of your screen, there's a thing that looks like a multi-sided die. If you click on that, it'll pop out the advanced dice roller, which I like, and it'll give you the option to roll like a certain number of certain types of dice with modifiers. So,
Okay, perfect. So I got the D6 and my wisdom. So
Yep.
it'd be the +1, right?
Okay, if that's what your wisdom is, I don't know. I can't see your sheet.
Well, yeah. So okay, yeah. So it's a modifier underneath the actual. Okay, cool. All right,
He's
so
like, I have a
roll
plus
that.
25. Clearly.
Okay, so I rolled 4.
Oh no. Yeah. So I feel like perhaps the buzzing of
He only rolled 1d6 plus 1.
Oh, I have to roll 2. Sorry.
yeah 2d6. Sorry. Yeah, just go ahead and roll another d6 then. Yep.
Okay, so I
Oh,
rolled
yeah, that's
9.
right. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. That's better. Yeah. So when you're looking at the stand, something strikes you maybe a little bit odd. These are all farmers, but none of them have like callousy hands, and they their clothes seem to be awfully fresh, and not at all dirty or worn as you would normally expect. The produce seems pretty normal. You look at the produce and it's just like what you would normally see at a produce stand. So, I mean, perhaps these just aren't the people that work the fields. Maybe they own the farm. Who knows? But the goods look pretty good. But also, as you're sort of scouting out their the sort of the money box or whatever, it does seem to be awfully full for people who are just selling produce. So,
Okay.
you do notice it does have some sort of like lock mechanism on it, so there's like a keyhole, and the guy that Smiggly is talking to currently has a set of keys on his belt, and then there are two more people who are like fronting the goods and like facing them and whatnot in the stalls.
Okay.
So you can do with that information what you will. Meanwhile, Smiggly, what are you saying to the shop owner or the guy at the register? I guess
Buy my cheese. You know you want it.
he says, and where does this cheese come from?
Freshly made, locally sourced.
Locally sourced? I don't know that there are any cows around here. What kind of cheese is it, did you say?
It's the bee's cheese.
The bees cheese? I have never heard of bees cheese before.
That's how you know you want it, because you've never had it.
He says, might I try a sample of your cheese?
I will cut off a small slice from the wheel of bee's cheese in
Yeah.
my adventuring gear
Yeah,
and hand it to him.
cool. I guess let's let I don't for cheese making ability. I guess it's a wisdom based thing. Give me a roll on wisdom to see how well you've made cheese. I guess because you make it yourself, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
7.
All right, cool. It's moderately decent. So yeah, he tastes it and he says, well, this is decent cheese. Not the best cheese I've had, but not bad, not bad. He says, and there's something different about it. It feels mildly transcendent. He says, yes, well, we could possibly make a deal. What is your asking price for the cheese?
An offering to the Lord of Cheese.
He says, the Lord of Cheese? I know of not one such lord.
I'm going to pull from my adventure gear a pamphlet with all the information written in honey.
Is it sticky?
It's solidified.
Oh, okay.
It's cured over the course of 3 years.
That must take forever to make those pamphlets.
I have 15 drying at the house right now.
Yeah. So he starts looking over and he says, yes, well, I'm not much of a religious man myself. What kind of offering is it that you're looking for?
Cheese.
He says, you want me to give you cheese for cheese?
Yes.
He says, I'm not sure I understand, but I'm afraid we don't have any cheese at the moment.
Blast you! I'll
And
take money, I guess.
He kind of like steps back a second and he's like, You are a peculiar, wee little man, aren't you? How are you carrying your sword, by the way? It can't just be strapped to your back. It's 5 foot tall. Yeah. Do you drag it behind you, or?
Yeah. I hold on to the very end of it at all times.
Yeah. Okay, cool. He's like, yes. Well then, and how much is your cheese per pound?
I don't know, $5.
He says, so they use dollars in this world, this fantasy world, I presume.
No, it's a monetary amount called the buck.
The buck. So we're gonna I guess wager that a buck is a bronze. 1 bronze is 1 buck. So he says yes, and he pulls out his keys and he starts unlocking the door. He pulls it open and he jingles around inside it and pulls out let's say 25 bronze because he's looking to buy 5 pounds of the cheese. And he says, yes, 25 bronze, 5 pounds of cheese.
I'm gonna have my emotional support bees fly to wherever my pack is currently. Pull out 5 pounds of cheese and bring it back.
So he looks a little startled when he sees this happen. And he sets it down and he says, oh, yes, thank you. He says, would you care to join us here in our town? Perhaps you could join us for a meal.
I'm going to turn around and scream at Nicholas. Nicholas! Free food, yes or no?
Yep, absolutely.
We'll join you.
He says, excellent. Very, very excellent. Yes. And then he sort of like snaps and waves, and one of the people facing this door comes running up. And this guy's a human, for reference. As she's running up, she says, yes, well. And do beg my pardon, I don't even think I've introduced myself. My name is Jason. And he says, and I don't believe I caught your name either in this conversation. Who are you?
I am Smiggly.
And your friend in the what is Nicholas wearing?
He's wearing all black.
Yeah, okay. Like hood too, or?
Yeah, the black, the hood, everything.
Yeah, and he says, and your creepy little friend, his name?
I'm the little one.
He says, indeed you are, sorry. It's a figure of speech. He says, I didn't catch his name. You, sir, the one who keeps staring me down. What is your name?
Smiggly.
Chris.
Ah, Chris. Yes, a fine, strong name. Yes. Well then. Yes. Oh, come here. Yes. This is my daughter. Her name is Angela, and she will show you into our lovely establishment.
Is that with 4 or 7 N's?
I believe it has 2 A's in it. Yes. I'm not entirely sure what the literacy rate in this fantasy world is, but I'm pretty sure I can read.
So pull out some honey, and I'm just gonna write it on the ground.
Yeah. She walks up. She says, "Oh, hello, sirs. Right this way. I'll show you inside." And she starts leading you into the town.
So what time of the day is it? Is it daytime? Is it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's. I imagine if you're doing business at a market, it's probably like late morning, maybe.
Late morning. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, she escorts you into the town. Do you just follow right in behind her?
Yeah.
Cheerfully humming a tune.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll walk up to Smiggly and say, "Hey, he's got the keys on the back of his pants. We need to get those to open that safe for us later."
Sounds good.
You're a terrible paladin. So as you're walking in, I have to assume your halberd just sort of leaves a lined trail behind you everywhere you go.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just dragging him and sort of making that scraping sound. I'm gonna guess. I guess how does it stay sharp? Just out of curiosity.
It's sharpened by the ground.
I feel like the opposite is true, but sure, why not?
I occasionally flip it over on the other side to keep the edge straight.
Yeah, okay. So it just slowly gets thinner and thinner as time goes on.
Yes, it's very big.
Yeah, that's what he said. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, as you walk into town, there's there's actually, I mean, as you first walk in, there's probably like 8 or 9 people around the town, and they're all wearing sort of these white robes, white pants. And they're all just sort of walking around, looking up at the sky and sort of mumbling to themselves. As she's leading you further in, do you say anything?
I begin looking up the sky and mumbling to fit in.
How about Nicholas?
Yeah, I look over at Smiggly and I'm like, hey, this town's pretty nice. There's a lot of stuff we could take here. We're gonna bide our
Everyone's
time.
looking up. They're not looking down. And then
Yeah.
go back to mumbling.
Yeah. So she leads you into like this building over here. And when you enter, there's sort of like a grand hall where there's like lots of seating and it looks like a function type space. And she says, "Yes, if you'll just sit here, we'll be serving lunch shortly."
I'm gonna clamber up the side of one of the chairs.
Yeah, and I'll just sit down. I'll sit down across from him.
On the opposite side.
On the
I don't
opposite
actually
side,
sit
yeah.
in the chair. I stand in the chair so I can see the table.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. And I would imagine even at that point, you're probably just like, nose above the table at best, because I mean, I'm looking at my chair right now that I'm sitting in, and it's probably just under a foot from like where the seat is to where the top of the table is.
So at that point, I realize he can't see over the table. So I wave at Angela and say, hey, can you grab him a booster seat?
She's like, "Oh, yes. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, I'll return momentarily." And she leaves. And then it's just you two in this grand hall, just the two of you and no one else.
They didn't seem very receptive to the cheese.
Yeah, but we got to give him a little bit more. Maybe we dose the food.
Smart.
Yeah.
Get them hooked on the cheese.
Get them hooked on the cheese. Exactly. They have a lot of money. They have lawyer hands. We can tell they're not farmers. So if we get them high enough, we can get them to tell us the reason why they're here, who they are.
So some time passes sort of while you're having the conversation, and then she comes in and she's, "Yes, will this do?" And she has sort of like 3 planks of wood that are probably like 2 foot by 2 foot by like 2 inches. So little like plates, basically like tiles. And she's, "Will this do?" And she brings them in.
Sure.
And she's, "Okay. Would you like me to put them in the chair you're in, or a separate chair?"
The chair I'm in, please.
Could
just
you-
like hang off the side of the table while she puts them on.
She's, "Okay." And she slides them underneath you, and she says, There. Will that do?"
I slide back over. I'm like, yes.
She says, "Oh, good, very much. Yes. Tell me, little sir, are you a child?"
What do you consider a child?
"Well, you're just so very small."
But some say I'm very big.
She says, "Oh, I can't imagine that to be true, but is this your father? Are you his father?" Looking at you, Nicholas.
I look at her and I ask her, would my son have a beard that hangs to the floor?
She says, "Well, I don't quite know, sir. I'm not versed in all creatures of the world."
No, he is not my father. He's a friend, an old friend.
"Oh, I see. Yes, well, she says, you don't look like most elves."
I'm not like most elves. I'm half human, half elf.
Oh my. Oh, that must be so terrible for you.
It's not so bad. I'm just living on my own, walking around with a gnome-sized hobbit.
She's, oh yes. Well, um, I am glad you've visited our establishment. It is so nice to have visitors. Lunch will be prepared shortly. Yes.
Hold
Well,
on, my dear. Will you be eating with us?
she's, unfortunately, I will not. I must get back to the stall and look for father.
Such a shame.
Yes, but some of the other villagers will be joining, so you will have company for sure.
Well, here, as a token of our passing. And I like shred off another piece of cheese and hand it to her.
He says, "Oh no, I couldn't possibly. I'm not allowed to eat cheese, you see."
You better get out of my face right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to offend. It's. I'm not allowed. You see, it's not a choice.
So at this point, I look over to her and I ask, if I eat a piece of cheese, will you eat a piece of cheese with me?
She says, "I'm afraid I cannot. It is strictly forbidden. Women must
I'm
not."
going to hurl the piece of cheese into her mouth.
Roll dex.
7.
Yeah. So I mean, it gets in her mouth as she's talking, and then she kind of coughs and immediately spits it out. And she's, "Oh no! Oh God! Oh no! Now I must repent. Oh no!"
Too late now. You've eaten the cheese.
And then she hurriedly walks out of the building.
I go down. I pick up the cheese. I eat it. I get back on the stool.
Yeah. So you're in there for like another 5 to 10 minutes, and then some of the white robed people from out in the courtyard start trickling in, and they start sitting in the seats around you. They don't make any eye contact, or it's almost like they're acting as though they've walked in there and they're the only ones there. Each individual person is the only person there. They just sort of sit down and sort of look at the table and look at their surroundings, and don't interact or engage with anyone or anything.
I pull myself up onto the table and go to where each person is seated and lay one piece of cheese.
While he's doing that, I get up to excuse myself to use the restroom.
Okay.
But instead of using the restroom, I find the kitchen.
Okay. Let's roll a dexterity for sneaking around.
Okay. So that's
2d6 plus your dex modifier.
My dex modifier.
Yeah.
It's a 9.
Yeah. So you do pretty well. So if you go sort of to the back of the room, there's a door where you can sort of see some steam coming out, and so you kind of assume that's the kitchen. As you start to like peek through the door, there are people in there preparing food and getting it ready. So it looks a lot like kind of like a soup kitchen. So there are several like fires with pots over them. There's a preparation table where food's being prepared, and there's like 4 cooks, as it were, in there. None of them human though. All of the cooks are goblins.
Okay, goblins.
Yeah.
Okay, so I walk into there, and I notice that the goblins are.
Okay, so did you just walk right in?
I just walk right into the kitchen.
Yeah, as soon as you walk in, one of the goblins like turns, looks at you, and he has like a ladle spoon, points the ladle spoon at you, and he goes, and like you can kind of tell that like maybe he doesn't want you in there.
Okay, at that point, I put my hands up, like, "Hey, I'm doing this for you. I got something for you. I got you something to help your night go a little better." And at that point, I approach the goblins, and I offer them cheese.
So you just kind of whip out some cheese.
Just whip out some cheese.
Yeah. The goblin is one cheese, just pulls his ladle back and he looks at the cheese, and he looks at one of the other goblins and he goes, and the goblin, now they're kind of like arguing, kind of like like a Chinese couple in a Chinese restaurant argue, and you don't know what they're saying, but they're arguing. Right. And then he looks back at you, and he points to the cheese and he goes, "Blah, blah, blah," and then he holds his arms up like this. "Blah."
I'm like, no, it's good. It's good cheese. Good cheese.
Roll a charisma roll.
Charisma.
Yep. So 2d6 on your charisma.
I roll a 9.
Okay. So one of the other goblins in the back just sort of makes some noises, like and the guy who's looking at you, he kind of sighs. He's like, and you see his shoulders kind of slump, and he just holds out his hand to take the cheese.
So I place the cheese in his hands. I'm like, eat the cheese.
He takes the cheese, and he puts it up to his mouth. He takes a tiny bite, and he just like kind of rubs his tummy and goes, and is hoping that he placates you.
Okay. So at that point, I question him like, "Hey, is it good cheese? Good cheese?"
He looks at it, and he looks at you, and he's like,
So at that point, I do a discern realities roll to see, do they truly enjoy the cheese or not?
Yeah. So roll your 2d6 on your wisdom.
A 4.
You totally think that he likes the cheese.
Okay. Totally think he likes it. Okay. So at that point, I walk up with my oil of Taggett.
Okay.
Which is the poison that I chose.
Yeah.
And I say, this is also like the cheese. You can put it into the food. And it tastes just like the cheese. Cheese for everybody.
Yeah, he declines. He waves his hand. He's like, "La, la, la, la."
Okay. So at that point, I leave. They clearly don't want me there.
Yeah.
I go back and sit across from Smiggly, and I see what's been going on in the dining hall.
Yeah, so
Smith walking in, Smiggly's announcing how the Lord of Cheese loves all.
So you're giving like an impromptu sermon.
Indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, the people, it's almost like they don't know you're there, right? They're acting as though you're just not present as you sort of give the sermon.
That's like normal.
Yeah, I mean, I said that it's probably, once again, if you're like one of those people that yell on the side of the street, then you're probably used to it. So none of them have touched the cheese in front of them. They're just sitting there, sort of waiting. Nicholas, as you're walking back to the table, you can hear just sort of in the distance as you walk, and it sort of fades slowly as you walk away. More yelling in the back of the kitchen from the goblins. Then do you sit back down, or what's your plan there?
So as I leave, I realize they're yelling, so I turn around to go see what the ruckus was about. I get back into the kitchen, away from the rest of the guests that are sitting in the dining room.
Yeah. So now, do you just burst right back in again, or are you trying to eavesdrop?
Let's eavesdrop first. Let's try to hear what's going on.
All right.
See if they're fighting. That can sooner discern. Let's see if they're fighting. Or are they excited? Or are they high yet?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's sort of because you've heard it already. It does sound like argument.
It is an argument.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, if you want to roll a dex, you can roll a dex to sort of like peek in or creep, sort of right in the door without being seen.
Okay. Yeah. Let's roll a dex. That's a 9.
Yeah. So you peek in the door and you see the cheese that you gave him. It's on the ground now. So the cheese is just sitting on the ground and they're arguing. As you're looking through the door, perhaps you move and it creaks just a little bit. And then suddenly the yelling stops and they all kind of just like look towards the door. Now you have the opportunity to like slip out before they see you. Do you want to do that?
Let's do that. Let's slip out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you slip out before they see you, but they definitely like stopped what they were doing. They kind of like heard a presence, whatever. But it was enough for you to ascertain that like they were yelling, that there was dissatisfaction about possibly the interaction that you had with them. And like I said, enough to see that the cheese was on the ground. They didn't want it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at that point, I try to go back to Smiggly to shut him up. Tell him, hey, so we got a problem.
All right.
Yes.
I tried offering the goblins cheese. They didn't like it. This might be bad.
Which cheese did you offer?
The good stuff. I needed a way to distract them so I could poison the food.
I can distract them for you.
Perfect. So that I go and sit back down in my seat.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm going to the kitchen.
All right. Do you burst right in, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Not burst. Just proudly walk in.
Okay. Yeah. You push the door. Swings open. It's a swinging door. And here again, the goblins all just sort of immediately turn. And here again, one starts yelling at you. Now you can understand. Or no?
Yes,
can you understand, or can people just understand you? How does that work? What's that? How does that read?
It's a voice that can transcend language.
Right. So they can understand you, but possibly you can't understand them.
True.
So yeah, I mean, as soon as you walk in, one goes, and he's like yelling, and he's pointing at the door, and he's pointing at the food, and he's just like you can tell he wants you to get out.
Are you truly happy toiling away in this place?
So he stops yelling, and you see him like put his hand to his chin, and he kind of like looks up for a second, and he's like, and he's sort of like gesturing with his hands, like gesturing sort of around at everything, and then like to the other goblins, and then to himself.
Would you not rather have all of this be owned by you?
He says, huh? And so once again he touches himself, and then he sort of gestures at the ground, and then it's quite possible you could probably even ascertain that because he can understand you, he thinks that you can understand him.
Yeah.
And so he's sort of prattling on in a sort of almost pondering and philosophical way, but you don't know what he's saying.
But sir, you are used as a servant to these human scum.
Roll charisma.
11.
Yeah, okay. He says, and his eyebrows kind of raise, and he goes, and he's sort of like a labored sigh, and he goes, huh.
What if I told you that I had a way to deal with them?
He says, and he like waves his finger and shakes his head.
I'm gonna walk up really close to him. I'll be like, "Fuck you!" and I'm gonna kick him in the nuts and run.
Roll. I mean, let's roll an attack essentially.
What do you want that rolled on?
Would it be strength? I guess 2d6 and strength.
All right. 6.
Yeah. So you go to kick, and he like dodges. Right. He like slips out of the way, and then he takes his ladle and slaps you across the head with it as he's dodging out of the way, and you will be taking some damage for that for sure. So six damage as you get slapped across the head with the ladle. And then what do you want to do?
Still gonna run away.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, as you start running, the goblin yells, "No!" And then the lot of them start running after you.
Ooh, I'm gonna start running in circles around the room.
Around the dining room or around the kitchen?
The kitchen.
Okay. So roll a dex for me. basically defy danger with Dex.
7.
Yeah. So
Sorry, that's an 8. Plus 1 to that.
okay. So yeah, at the moment, none of them have caught up to you, but they're like throwing things at you. In fact, one of them has thrown his like kitchen knife, and it's grazed you, and you will take just 1 damage though, and probably your armor is going to absorb that.
Well,
Yep.
it stabs into the cheese.
Yeah, and there's still
How many goblins are in the kitchen at the moment?
4. So
4
you
goblins.
you hear the commotion. You hear a commotion in the kitchen at this point. What do you want to do?
I want to run towards the kitchen. Now,
Yeah.
how many doors go to the kitchen? Is it a two-door situation or 1 door?
It's 1 door. Yeah, it's like a swinging door
One
though.
door.
It doesn't latch or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll run to the kitchen. I'll get there as I see the sword or the knife glancing Smiggly.
Yeah. Okay. You see that it just glances off his armor. You see that. What do you want to do? As he's being chased around the room by the goblins.
So I'll run up and I'll backstab one of the goblins.
Okay. Yeah. Roll a dex for me, and you can have advantage because they don't necessarily see you right away. So take an additional +1 to your roll.
So this will be the 2d4s, right?
2d6.
2d6.
Yeah. Plus your dex because you attack with dex, and then you'll get an additional +1. So your dex. Yeah. There you go. Yep. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna backstab the ever-loving crap out of a goblin. So then you can roll damage. So you can roll the 2d4s for damage.
Okay. So I also have the cheap shot
Yep.
ability. So that's an extra 1d6.
Yep. Okay.
On top of that, so how does that work?
Yeah. So roll the 2d4 and then roll the 1d6 as well.
Okay, and that'll be dex or just normal?
It's on your dex. Yeah. Oh no, sorry. No modifiers for the damage. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And then a 1d6.
Yep. And does the backstab give you any additional boon?
The backstab does. Oh, it does.
Yeah.
When you attack to surprise or defensive enemy with a melee weapon, you choose deer damage or roll plus dex.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So do you want to choose additional damage because you already rolled? So.
Yeah, let's do additional damage.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so now I would add the total of the d6 and the 2d4s.
Yep.
So it'd be an 11.
Yep. All right. Cool. You will straight up murder that goblin by stabbing him in the back. So how do you do it? I mean, like, do you leap across the room, or give me a cinematic event here?
Yeah, so I'm busting through the door. I see the knife graze him.
Yeah.
I run up and I'm doing a double dagger straight to the back, right
Okay.
to the lung.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And so, I mean, is it like where you jump on him and you tackle him to the ground?
Yeah. The force alone will drive that goblin into the ground.
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. So I mean, you like stab through him, into the floorboards, and I mean, it
Right.
kills him immediately. The sound of this, though, I mean, he doesn't even get to scream because it happens so fast. But the sound of you clomping on the ground does raise suspicion from the other goblins. So as they're chasing you around, one of them sort of looks back and sees you, and he goes, and he's yelling and he's screaming at you. And the other two stop chasing Smiggly, turn and look, and then they sort of all start running in different directions. Smiggly, what are you doing?
I turn to the nearest one and scream, "In the name of cheese, I smite thee!"
Okay.
That uses my Exterminatus trait, so I get to deal more damage to it and less damage to any other one.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna swing that halberd at it
Okay. Yeah. Roll for it.
with an 8.
Wait. Just to clarify, you ran into the kitchen with a 5-foot halberd looking like a garden gnome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
With a halberd. So
Got
yep.
an 8.
Yeah. So yeah. So and then you go ahead and roll some damage.
All right. I do a D10 of damage.
Yeah.
2d4 from Exterminatus.
Jesus Christ.
And my other attack pick was Smite. So when I'm on a quest, I deal another 1d4.
Yeah.
15 damage.
Yeah. So here's what happens, right? You don't just kill the goblin, you smatter him all over the place. But you're swinging a 5-foot halberd, so you're catching a lot of other stuff too. So you're kind of destroying a bit of the kitchen when you do this. So as you're swinging it and you're hitting some like cabinets and other stuff, bits of stuff start flying and falling down and whatever. A pot sort of like just pops up and hits you in the face as you're just like swinging from the violent force. That pot does 5 damage as it just like smacks you in the face. Like I said, you street pizza'd that goblin. He is no more. The other two are like clamoring to get to the door at this point. Nicholas, what are you doing?
I pull out my bow.
Okay.
And I aim at one of them. I go to shoot one of them in the back.
All right. Yeah. Roll for it.
Try to stop him. That's a 6.
All right, and that'll be on your dex. So you put this will be a 9.
9.
Yeah.
9. Yeah.
You shoot the one in the back. Go ahead and roll damage on that, and it'll just be your damage dice. So in this case, it'll be.
So that'll be the 2d4s, right?
Well, so in this case, it'll just be the d8 because you're not dual wielding. So yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
So,
5.
yeah, you did better anyways. And where are you shooting? Are you shooting like for the head, the back, the legs, the what?
Just shooting right for the back. Anything within target.
Yeah.
Dead center of the back.
Yeah. So yeah, it catches him just left of the spine on the back, and it causes him to sort of trip and stumble, and he's sort of continues to scramble for the door, but he has the arrow stuck in his back. He's taking the damage, and it slows him down a little bit. The other goblin reaches the door, puts his hand on it to push it. In this moment, Smiggly, what are you doing?
I hurl my halberd and try and pin him to the door.
Okay, you'll have to roll a dex on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hey,
Yeah, cool. You throw the halberd and roll your damage.
that's D10 and for 11 damage.
Yep. It'll pierce. I mean, the halberd's huge, right? It'll pierce right through him, pinning him to the door, but it's going to swing the door like wide open, right? So it hits him, goes through his body.
Nicholas, I think I made a mistake.
Goes into the door. The door just
Yeah.
like bursts wide open when that happens, it swings around even to the point where like it sticks to the wall where the door opens and hits the wall. So it's this like halberd goblin door wall, all like skewered by by the halberd itself. As a result, you no longer have your halberd. You'll have to go like free it before you do anything else. The other goblin taking this chance to like get out the door, so he runs out. He's gone, right? He zips out. What's next for you, Nicholas?
So I'll run up. I'll talk to Smiggly Big. We're in trouble. We'll run to the door so he can grab his halberd. At that point, we look out, and we just notice everybody staring back at the door.
Okay. Smiggly, so he tells you you're leaving. Is there anything you want to do before y'all hit the door?
No, just grab my halberd.
Okay. Yeah. So as you're running up to grab your halberd, as soon as you walk out, you see the goblin running past the people at the table, he runs out the door. Right. He's running out the door of the building. They're all just still sitting at their seats, once again being very spacey. They're not doing anything. I guess.
Didn't notice the commotion at all.
Nah.
Okay.
Yep. Smiggly, roll dex or roll strength to see how quickly you're freeing your halberd from all the things it's embedded into. Yeah, so it'll take you like a minute or two. While he's like wiggling his halberd free or trying to pull it free, what is Nicholas doing?
I'll run up and I'll grab the halberd and just pull it, and I'll pull it out for him.
Okay. So it's a joint effort. So you guys wrestle it free from the door, and then what?
We need to find a window.
Yeah, we'll look around for a window.
Yeah, yeah. So there's 4 windows, 2 on either side of the room.
Okay. At that point, I'll look at Sniggy and say, "Hey, these guys haven't moved. They didn't hear anything. You know, I'll try to figure like we banter back and forth trying to figure out what the hell's going on." And we realize we don't need to leave because these people haven't noticed anything at all. The goblin's just gone.
Yes, if nothing else, we can say the goblins attacked us.
Works for me.
Just gonna go stand back up on the chair.
All right. Yeah. Nicholas, you too?
Yeah, well, I'll sit. Yeah, I'll go and sit across from him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's
So
my original seat.
yeah. You guys sit back down, and act as though nothing has happened. A little more time goes by, and a gentleman in sort of like fine robes walks in. Probably a good 7 minutes later, he walks in and he says, oh my goodness, new friends, Smiggly and Chris, is it?"
Yes.
Yeah.
He says, yes. Well, I've been sent here. It appears perhaps our goblins have caused you a bit of trouble, and I just wanted to apologize for any miscommunications we may have had here. Is everything okay?
Oh yeah, I got like 4 of them.
He says, yes.
Everything's good.
He says, yes. Well, I'm afraid lunch will be delayed. Is that okay?
Is it fine if I cook for us?
He says, oh no, we would never trouble a guest to cook. We will certainly have that taken care of for you.
Please, it's my pleasure.
He says, no, I insist. We will certainly take care of you. We are the hosts here.
I still want to try and convince him.
I mean,
I'd agree with them. I'll add, he is a great chef. He knows his way around cheese.
He says, yes. I understand. But you see, our cuisine is like no other, and we greatly would like for you to sample it.
Very well. I will acquiesce this time.
Yes, very well. We will have someone back in the kitchen shortly. Once again, I do apologize for the inconvenience. Please take a load off, and I will have someone fetch you some. Do you drink wine?
Yes.
He says, "Oh, excellent." And he like claps, and someone comes in the door like behind him, and it's sort of once again sort of like a woman in her late teens, early 20s, young, and so she comes in, and he says, yes, fetch these fine gentlemen a glass of our finest wine, please. And she says, yes sir, and she runs back into the kitchen, and he says, yes, do just relax and please don't trouble yourselves. And he walks out. And you guys have like a few seconds before she comes back with wine. Do you have any conversation about that?
Okay, so I'm gonna quickly whip out some B's cheese and toss it to Nicholas, and be like, "Listen, after she leaves, run back into the kitchen, drop this in the pot."
I'll agree.
Yeah, cool. So she comes back with a bottle of wine and 2 glasses, and she sets them down. And she pours them for you, and she says, yes, here you go. Please do enjoy yourselves. Is there anything else I can get you?
Yes, can you give me a switch from outside?
Like a tree branch? Is that what you were referring to?
Yes.
She
Sure,
says,
it's extra flexible.
she says, yes, I suppose I could do that. Anything else? You, sir? Looking at you, Nicholas.
Something to snack on if you have something. I'm starving.
Yes. Well, it seems like you have cheese. Is that not?
Oh no. This is special cheese.
Oh, I see.
It's not the type you want to just eat.
Oh, I see. Yes. Yes. After I retrieve the switch for Master Smiggly, then I will see what I can procure for you to eat just after, if that's okay.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Okay. And she walks out.
Okay. So at that point, I'll sneak back into the kitchen, which wouldn't be much sneaking, but I'd walk back into the kitchen.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you walk in the kitchen.
I'm just gonna get on the table and start doing sermons again.
Okay. Yeah. And you watch the kitchen. There's no one in there.
Yep. So I'll cut some cheese off and I'll drop it in the multiple pots that are boiling.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's like a stew that's going, and then there's another sort of like a meat dish that's off to the side, and there's another pot of just water boiling.
Just water.
Yeah. So.
Okay. At that point, I'll drop some of my poison in the water.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. So you do that. I mean, that happens. And then you should return back to
I'll return back to the kitchen,
okay,
waiting
cool.
for the snack to come back with the switch.
Yeah. So
waiting for the snack to come back with the switch.
so yeah. Yeah. She walks back in and she's got a sort of like a twig. It's probably about 3 foot in length. So sort of the base of it's probably about as big as your pinky, and then goes to a tip at the end. It's she's removed any sort of like stems that have come off of it, so it's just the switch. And she says, "Is this to your liking, sir?"
I give it a couple of test swishes and then say yes.
Oh, excellent! Yes. Did you not like the wine?
I dip the switch into the wine and then suck the end of the switch.
So you get a few drops of the wine from the switch into your mouth. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, so you sucked the end of the switch, or you licked the end of the?
No, he seductively puts the switch in his mouth and services it. Yep. And then she looks at you, and you, sir, have you sampled the wine? Is it to your liking?
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, great.
Mine's already almost gone. I've tried drinking most of it at that point.
Okay. And then she goes into the kitchen, and she's in there for a few minutes, and she comes walking back out, and she says, "Will this plate of crackers do?"
Perfect.
Yeah. She says, "Excellent." She sets them down, and she starts walking back, and she turns back over her shoulder to look at you. And Nicholas, could you roll 2d6 on your Constitution for Defy Danger for me?
4.
You need another d6.
Oh, that was 2. Okay. Sorry. 11.
Okay. Yeah. So the wine, when you've drunken it, it had a little bit of a sour taste to it, and you note now that you have a slight fuzzy feeling in your brain, and you notice that it's a poison of some sort, but it's one you've had before, so it's not going to affect you in any significant way. But you do realize that quite possibly the wine has been poisoned, and then Smiggly, if you'll roll 2d6 on your Constitution, but take an additional +2.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you only had a little bit. But you also get a little bit of a fuzzy-headed feeling. You feel slightly drowsy. You might take a -1 for about 3 turns.
I eat some psychedelic cheese to calm me down.
All right. Let's roll on something. I don't know, man. Let's roll again on your Constitution, I suppose.
Should I get a plus for being an addict?
Sure.
6.
Yeah, the cheese makes it worse actually. Yeah. What was just slightly fuzzy is now more fuzzy. Take a -2 for the next 3 turns.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So as she's looking over your shoulder, and Nicholas, you realize that she's basically just tried to poison you. What do you do? Nothing. I mean, you can do nothing. Nothing can be an answer.
Yeah, I just do nothing at this point.
Okay. So
if I say something, it would just raise suspicion. That
Right.
She know that I knew.
And so as her gaze lingers upon you for a moment, she turns and then hurries out the door. And you guys are left there again.
I would look over at Sniggly at that point and say, "Hey, do you feel that as well?"
I think we need to get the fuck out of here. I'm starting to freak.
Yep. I'm with you.
You'll do a flying jump out of one of the side windows.
So hold on now. As you approach one of the windows, one of the other people who have been sitting at the table, like with lightning speed, leaving some indentations in the board, springs forth and dashes in front of you. And roll a defy danger with your strength.
-2, 6.
Yeah. As this like, you know, like a bleach flash step. I mean, like, you know, jets in front of you and puts an elbow straight in your face, knocking you to the ground and dealing 6 damage. And looks down at you cold-faced and says, "None shall leave the collective." Seeing this, Zach, what do you do?
At that point, I've already pulled my dagger out with I've pulled the dagger out, and I've at that point just I've thrown one of my daggers at this guy.
Okay, yeah, roll a dex.
And to confirm, that was 1. Okay, so it's 1d6 with my deck.
2d6.
Okay, so that's 2d6.
Okay.
All right. That's a 6 roll.
Yeah. So the dagger that you throw at him, as it's flying towards him, he reaches up and just like grabs it, and it stops like half an inch from his eye as he's holding the hilt of the dagger. Doesn't even look at you and chucks it right back at you. And it hits you in the shoulder for 2 damage. And you can minus any armor that you have. You probably have +1 armor, I would imagine. So it'd be a 1. As it like just kind of catches you in the shoulder. And the other like 7 people that are in the room stand up. And they don't look at you. They all just stand up from their chairs, erect. Smiggly, what are you doing?
I guess I'm gonna take a swing at the dude that just put an elbow in me.
Yeah. All right. Go for it.
A 9.
All right. Roll some damage.
D10, D4, 5 damage.
Okay. And how do you hit him?
In the shins.
Okay. Are you hitting with like your halberd, or are you just like just kicking him, or what are you doing?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Fuck it. I kick him.
Yeah. So you little man kick him in the shins.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kick him in the shins, and like it bloodies his shin up. So you know you did some damage. He seems unfazed by it though, and he looks down at you, and then just like kicks, you know, where you're at. And when he kicks, it's just 1 damage, but it does knock you back a couple of feet. Meanwhile, Nicholas, the person who was sitting right beside you, who's now stood up, just like eerily like turns to face you. What do you want to do?
So at that point, I only have 1 dagger.
Yep. So you can roll just a d8 on that dagger. So the nice thing about the way the system works is you do the same amount of damage with a spoon as you do with a dagger, because it's based on your skill and technique and not on the weapon itself.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
just because you're no longer dual wielding, we take away the 2d4 aspect and you just roll on a d8. Yeah,
Okay.
but you'll have to roll.
Point, I just...
But you'll have to roll for your attempt. So basically, you're rolling an attack. So 2d6 on your dex to attack him.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm turning around and I'm attacking just to stab him right in the gut.
Okay.
That's a 15.
Hell yeah. All right, yeah, and roll some damages.
And that's a 1d. Was that a 1d8?
1d8, yeah. All right.
7.
So now, I will give you the option, if you want. Now, so that's a you got the 15, which means it's a no consequence kind of roll. You could roll an additional d6 of damage, but open yourself up to attack if you wanted to. You don't have to. It's just an option.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Okay.
Let's just go for the initial stab to the gut.
Yep. So yeah, you stab him in the gut, and blood comes out. I mean, spurts forth, and he just sort of like looks down at it and looks at you and just stares at you. Right? He's just staring you in the eye while this is happening. Smiggly, what are you doing? So let's do this too for reference. So let's throw some stuff on the on a board real quick. So if we're actually let's just do a blank. Do this. Yeah, that'll work. All right. So let's set a scene because there's a lot of things going on here. So. That's the table.
It's me.
All right, the combatants. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 8. Yep, there's 8 of them. So the red are your combatants. So Zach, you can throw down, if you go to the left hand of the screen, there's like shapes, and you can draw a shape to represent your character in this sphere that we're in.
Okay, where is that? Okay, draw a shape.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And so you'll be over here
Hold on.
at the table.
Sorry. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then this is the guy here, who's basically. Let me grab it.
Sorry, I'm struggling here trying to get this thing to work.
Yeah. Well, when the shapes are small too, it's hard to grab onto them a little bit. It's a little annoying.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So,
right, there we go.
yeah, this is the guy that like you're stabbing right now.
I can't grab the shape though. How do I grab the shape?
So click on
you
it.
Go back to the regular mouse. And you can
Oh,
click
gotcha.
Oh, yeah, there's like a selection tool. Yep.
Okay.
So let's do this too. Let's outline the building. So here's the building. The door to the kitchen back here. The exit is going to be sort of down here. These are your windows. There we go. All right. So now we have a fictional space to move around in. There we go. Works. There's this guy.
And Smiggly's in the top left corner up here by this window up here.
Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, this is Smiggly over here. Yep.
Okay.
I decided to use yellow, the color of cheese.
Yeah. So yeah. Smiggly, what are you doing? So this guy's knocked you back a little bit. What are you up to?
I'm gonna swing my halberd at him.
All right. Yeah. Roll for it.
11.
All right. Yeah. Roll some damages.
11 damage.
All right. And how are you swinging it?
This time I swing it at his kneecaps.
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So you managed to like slice like the bottom half of his leg from the kneecap down off, and he topples over. As he falls down, his gaze just follows you, and he hits the floor and kind of bounces a little bit, but his eyes never leave like your location. And he's just looking at you, and he starts putting his hand on the ground to sort of like pick himself back up. Also, these two over here have started making their way towards you as you're fighting. Now, Nicholas, you've got your dagger embedded in this guy's gut. What are you doing?
At that point, I slice straight up, try to get as much damage done as possible.
Okay, yeah, roll an attack. So it'll be 2d6 on your dex.
11.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and then roll some damages.
And what was that again?
So it'll be your you just have the one, so it'll be a d8.
1d8.
Yep.
1.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, as you're slicing up, I think perhaps maybe he takes a step back, and so you do catch some of them, but not all of them.
Okay.
And also at this time, some of these other ones are starting to like move around. Looks like they're starting to surround you a little bit. And while all that's happening, we're back to Smiggly. Smiggly, what are you doing with this guy who's like fallen over and he's like trying to pick himself up with the one hand, staring at you like, creepily?
I'm gonna kick him in the teeth.
Okay, yeah, roll for it.
That was my third turn. So, ooh, 12.
Yeah. Roll some damage.
9 damage.
9. So yep. All right. Yeah, and so what size shoe do you wear?
0.2.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, you kick in his teeth, and when you do, it just seems like he stops moving. Right? You kick in his teeth, and he kind of just goes limp.
Shotgun his teeth to the back of his head.
Yeah. I don't know. He dies. So he sort of like he's dead. Meanwhile, while this is happening, these guys still just sort of like casually walking towards you, and trying to get you. Meanwhile, Nicholas, what are you up to? These guys are starting to like move in around you.
At that point, I jump over the table.
Okay.
I attempt to go fully over the table.
Yeah. So you're in a combat situation. Roll a dexterity roll for getting over the table while in combat.
Okay, and that's the 2d6s.
Yeah, 2d6 plus your dex. Yep.
That's an 8.
Yeah. So you'll get over the table, but once you get to the other side, it'll take you a second to like deal with the landing. So you won't be taking any other actions. Jumping over the table will just basically be your action for this this moment.
Okay.
Yep. So this is all happening. The man with the robe comes through the door. Let's see. Let's get a color for him. So yeah, he enters, and he has with him two other people. These are both night elves. So they're like purplish in nature, like WoW. And let's give them some colors. Give them like a rich purple color. They walk in behind him, and he says, "Oh my heavens, what is happening here?" And he claps his hands, and then all of these guys just kind of stop what they're doing, and stop moving. What do you do?
Your guests were very unreceptive to cheese talk.
He says, "Oh well, I'm very sorry. This is not how we wanted you to be treated at all. Do you know what might have happened to provoke them? Typically, they're so docile."
I went to take a look out the window, and all of a sudden they're attacking.
He says, "Oh yes, well, I'm so sorry. They don't care for people leaving before they've had their meal. He says, perhaps maybe you could sit back down and I've brought new cooks to make the meal for you.
At that point, I'll yell out, "Your whore tried to poison us."
He says, "Oh my, are you sure? I can't foresee her doing something like that."
Yes, I'm sure. Look at him. Look at him. Look how high he is right now. He can't even move.
He says, "Yes, well, as I understand it, he partakes of the cheese."
Well, cheese is a different type of high, okay?
He says, well, I see. Well, perhaps we'll get you. And how is it that she was poisoning you? Did you say it was from the wine?
It was from the wine or the Smickly. Did you eat one of the crackers?
No, I would never sully myself.
Yeah, it was definitely the wine.
He says, "Oh, well, perhaps we get you new wine, just in case. I will have a stern talking with her about her behavior."
I don't need to do more wine. I'm fine.
He says, "Oh, yes, well, yes, well, perhaps I'll have the other guests have them eat in a different location. It seems that this has sullied the meal." And he looks over at the one elf, the one to his left, and he sort of like gestures, and he starts running over to where the body is. And then he says, and then he looks at the other elf, and he says, "Yes, do please round up our other guests." And so he starts walking around, and so he walks like to this guest, and he like taps him on the shoulder, and then they start following him. And so he starts doing that across the room. Are you guys doing anything while this is happening?
I've walked over to Smiggly at this point to see if he was alright.
I want to pull a health potion out of my pack.
Okay. So you guys are over there, and he starts making his way further into the room, and he says, "Please do have a seat."
Okay, so I'll pick up my dagger while he's managing these people over here as well. So I have both daggers now in my inventory.
Okay. All right. So this guy gets over here, and he sort of like hoisted his body over his shoulder. And meanwhile, the other elf has sort of rounded up all of the guests clad in the white robes.
So while he's getting those guests situated, I'll question the night elf. Say, "Hey, what's going on? Who are you? What are these people doing here?" I'll try to use my elf.
Yeah. Roll some charisma.
Okay. Never mind. That was 2d6s, right?
2d6 plus your charisma
that I have.
Oh no.
And 2.
So he kind of looks at you and he says, "You a half elf?"
Yes.
He says, "Tragic." And then he just like carries, and then like takes the body and keeps walking away from you.
So I'm ignored. Okay.
Yeah. So the two elves, the one with the body and the one with the other ones, they exit. And this gentleman is still here in the robes, the human, with you. And he says, "What can I get you to your liking? Is there a particular meal you would like? We could prepare something else, or is there maybe some water for you?"
What's your take on cheese, son?
He says, "Yes, well, I know some people do like the cheese. It's not for me, I'm afraid."
Have you tried this cheese? And I'm gonna pull out more beaches.
He says, I've tried many a cheese, but none of them have ever been for me. Several people have told me to try their cheese, but I have yet to find one to satiate my palate. I assure you it's not for me."
Attempt mine. Mine is homemade.
At that point, I'll tell him, look, I'm not eating any more of your food until you eat some of our cheese.
He says, if it will appease you, then certainly I will. And he holds out his hand.
I put a slightly larger than normal chunk in his hand.
Yeah. He holds it and he pulls a small knife out of his back pocket and he carves just the tiniest piece off the piece that you gave him. Puts it up to his mouth and he eats it. He says, chews it. And you can see in his face that, like, it almost pains him to eat the cheese. And he's like, yes, well, I'm sure many would find this to be excellent cheese, but as I've said before, it's just not to my palate.
I'm going to lean over really close to Nicholas and whisper as slowly as I can. Should I kill him?
What was that? I missed it.
I leaned over and asked if I should kill him.
Oh, asked if we should kill him now?
Yeah.
No, not yet. Hold off on that. Let's give it a little while. Let the cheese kick in first.
Okay. I'm gonna look back at him and be like, even though I dislike you, leave.
He says, yes, well, I will take my leave, yes. The cooks will be back shortly to prepare your food. Once again, I am so terribly sorry. This is not the kind of hospitality, as I said before, that we wish to impart upon our guests. So if you wouldn't mind just, taking a seat and waiting patiently, once again, I apologize. And he starts leaving.
And there's nobody left in the diner with us?
No. And
Okay.
He's making his way out.
Okay, at that point, I try to sneak to follow him out to see where he's going each time he leaves.
Okay, yeah, roll dex.
11.
Nice. Yeah, you do, for sure. So yeah, you start following behind him, and I find the panel that I was on before somehow. Here we go. Yeah, so he exits here, out of this building where you guys are. He's making his way, like, across here. And he enters into this building here, and goes inside it.
Okay. Yeah, at that point, I'll try to peek in to see what type of what I'll use to discern realities. What type of building is it?
Well, so I mean, it just looks like a sort of larger, like, family home is what it looks like. You don't have to discern realities for that necessarily.
Okay, so this is somebody's house. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's gone in. The door's closed behind him.
Okay. I'll peek through a window to see if he's there to meet anybody, if it's just him by himself.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the bottom floor doesn't have any windows in the front. There are some side windows, so you can see there's no windows there. So over here, there are some windows. They're shuttered.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll go around the side of the house and I'll see. Are there any windows open at all?
So on the second floor, it seems like the windows are open to some degree.
Okay, so I'll climb up to the roof, try to peek through the window there.
Okay, do me another dex roll for scaling the house in a way that is quiet and sneakily.
Okay, an 11.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, you climb up, and when you peer through the window, there's well, actually, roll discern realities 2 for me as you're looking through the window.
Okay, that's a wisdom roll, right? So
yeah,
7.
Okay. Yeah. So you can see there's a lot of what look like altars and like worshipping paraphernalia, I suppose, in the rooms. And there are people. There's some people like kneeling and praying, and you can see in the far back corner, someone is like up against the wall and they're being whipped, but they're letting it happen. They're not like tied down or anything, and they're being sort of like whipped and chastised. In fact, it's the girl that served you the wine. She's being whipped, and by a man in a robe similar to the one that came and talked to you guys. Not the same guy, but one in similar dress, whipping her, and she's just taking it. So that's kind of what you see through the window.
Okay. At that point, I'll go back to I'll get off of the roof and I'll go back into the diner where Smiggly is.
Yeah. So now let's resolve real quick too. So Smiggly, while Nikolaz has left and you're in the diner alone, what are you doing?
So the cooks are there now?
Not yet. They haven't come back in yet.
Cool. Then I'm just gonna go and add more cheese and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. So, and then Nicholas, you get back, and what do you report to Smiggly when you get back?
That I'm pretty sure it's the Lord of Saltines doing something here. These people are worshiping the Lord that you hate and despise, that has done me dirty in the past with my friends. And ask him what he wants. Yeah, I should have known better when they offered me crackers.
These crackers giving crackers.
Yeah, now I understand why you didn't want it. So I just ask him, what do you want to do?
Your choice. We can either, leave or slaughter them all.
So as you're having the conversation, the door opens and the two elves come back in that were there before, the two night elves, and they don't say anything to you. They just start making their way back towards the kitchen.
No, are these our new chefs?
Yeah, they're the ones that came in before and rounded up the other guests and the dead body.
Okay, so they're going into the kitchen to prep food for just us that we've now dosed with a ton of cheese.
Yeah. They don't know that.
No, they don't know that.
As they shouldn't.
Yeah. And we've got no food, we've got no wine.
I'm gonna lean to Nicholas and would be like, I'm gonna talk them into eating the cheese-laced food first. Since we don't trust them, since we were poisoned before.
Right.
Let's get them high as balls.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. So they wind up in the kitchen, and then you hear the clattering of pans and stuff as they continue fixing food, so maybe 15 minutes goes by, and they come out and they have plates full of food, and they bring them out. Are you guys still standing at the end of the table? Are y'all sitting back down, or what you doing?
No, I'm standing either way, but
right.
Yeah, I'm sitting down at the table.
Okay. So let's put you there. All right. Yeah. So they come out and do that whole waiter thing where they sort of lay food over your shoulder in front of you, so the one that talked to you briefly before, Nicholas, is here's your food, and then the other one doesn't say a word to Smiggly. He just sets the food down, and they go to leave.
Hold up! I must insist that you eat this food first, seeing as we were poisoned before.
I would also point out that it's pretty good with crackers.
So they look at each other, look at the food, and they say, "Okay." So this guy walks over here. He takes a spoon, dips it into the stew or whatever, puts it to his mouth, and eats it. Same thing with this guy. Comes up, grabs a piece of the meat, and puts it in his mouth, and they start chewing. You just watch intently, or?
I watch until they swallow.
Yeah, cool. They both swallow, drugs take a minute to hit, so the one just looks at you guys, the one over here by Nicholas, and says, "Satisfied?"
Yes.
Yep. And then they start making their way back to the kitchen.
Okay, so then I'll look over at Smiggly and say, "Hey, what do you want to do? We could either kill them all, or we could try to convert them all." Your choice.
You said the magic word. Let's convert them. Praise be to the cheese.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you just like hang out for like another, 15, 20 minutes waiting for stuff to react, or what do you do?
Yeah, we'll just hang out.
Yeah.
Just shoot the shit, waiting for something else to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, so you start hearing a
Tell
little...
about this one adventure I had that ended in me trying to make bear cheese.
Yeah, so after about 15 minutes, you start hearing a commotion in the kitchen.
Perfect. I'm going to start walking towards the kitchen.
Yeah, cool.
Agreed.
Yeah. So you open the door, and you see an interesting sight. They're both standing on the preparation table. One's being wheelbarrowed by the other. If you take my meaning, and the one doing the who's standing and holding the legs of the other one, he's crying and yelling something about narwhals, and the one who's being wheelbarrowed with his hands down on the ground or down on the table, he's saying, "Daddy never loved me. Daddy never loved me." And that's the scene you walk in on.
Cool. I put more cheese in their mouths and then leave a pamphlet.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know what's going on, so you do that, and you leave the pamphlet, and they're still doing what they're doing.
On to the next house to convert.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
I'll follow Smiggly out. We've done our job with the night elves, the guards, I guess.
Yeah. So let's go here. All right. So yeah, you exit, and so when you exit, you see now the guests that attacked you before. They're all sitting around this pond, just staring pensively into the water.
They don't seem responsive to anything I've said so far, so let's just leave them and go to the next spot.
Yeah.
Which house did we leave?
Huh? You left this one here.
Okay. Well, then I go next door.
Cool. Yeah.
So at that point, once we leave the building, I'll point out, say, hey, that building that I saw them in was across the way.
Oh,
so
let's go that way.
knows which house. Yeah.
Convert the head. Convert the body. I don't know.
Yeah, did you start making your way over to that building then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you go to it, but I mean, like, what do you do? The door's closed. There's no one outside with it.
Should we go in the front or should we go in the back? Should we go in the side or the top? Or if we have 3 hours, I can dig a hole through the bottom.
Do you have a shovel?
I have a halberd.
So Smiggly's the eccentric one. So what do you want to do? Do you want to just knock on the front door, just go in blazing, or do you want to try to sneak in, or do I throw you to the roof by your beard?
That sounds like fun. Let's do that.
Okay, so we'll try to go through the upstairs window.
So you're trying to throw him through the upstairs window?
Yeah, I'll throw him through the upstairs window.
Okay.
See if we can get a better eye on what's going on.
So I need two things actually. I need a strength roll because I'm going to assume he's going to keep holding his halberd when you throw him. Right.
In fact, I'm going to hold on to the top while you throw the halberd.
All right. So I need a strength roll and a dex roll because accuracy and strength are going to be needed to get him through a window. So
Okay,
roll first roll 2d6 on your strength, I suppose.
Okay, so that's a 4.
And
Dex is a 10.
Yeah. So you definitely aimed correctly.
It's the wrong window.
No. You didn't even make it to the window. You just kind of slam into the side of the building. Only a few feet up from Nicola's head. So Smiggly, roll a defy danger, I guess, with your constitution for me.
7.
Yeah, so you only take a little bit of damage as you slam into the side of the wall. So Just 1 damage. I guess your armor's absorbing all that. So you hit the side of the wall and you slide down, but it does make quite the loud bang on the side of the building. As soon as that happens, you hear some clamoring on the inside, the door opens.
Try to run around the side.
You should, before the person opening the door sees you.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll a dex.
Nope.
Nah. What is Nicholas doing as the door is opening? What are you trying to do?
I try to slip away as well around the
Okay.
corner.
You roll a dex. Yeah. So the person opening the door so Smiggly, you trip, right, and just fall on your face right in front of the door. So the person walking out sees you, obviously, and just catches a glimpse of something slip beyond the side of the wall, but he doesn't know necessarily what it was, but he knows something went that way, and that will be Nicholas. And he looks down and he says, and this, by the way, is a troll. He looks down at Smiggly and says, "What are you doing?"
Those damnable dark elves threw me at your wall.
He looks around and he says, "I don't see no dark elves."
Did you not see him escape that way? And I point in the opposite direction of which way Nicholas went.
He says, "I mean, I saw something slip down the other way. Could have been a squirrel. Could have been a raccoon.
I'm just
I don't know.
my nose. I assure you, they threw me that way. And I try to persuade him to chase after them.
All right."
With a 10.
He says, "I'll go check it out. Don't you go nowhere." He walks out, shuts the door behind him, and starts. Nicholas, which way did you dart? Did you dart left or right?
I went to the right.
Right. So you went this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he starts walking around this way to this side of the building. And then, what are you guys doing?
So I'll come back around to the front and be like, "Hey, so what's going on? What do you want to do? What are we doing here?"
Well, let's run in the front, I guess. Troll's out the way. Could you get the door handle for me?
Yeah, so I'll grab the door handle and I'll try to open it.
It's locked.
Okay, I will pick the lock.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll pick the lock and we will get in. We'll go inside. Do I have to roll for the pick lock?
Yep. They should. I think on your front page there should be some sort of lock picking skill.
Yeah. So roll plus dex.
Yep. So 2d6 plus your dex.
And that's a 10.
Yep.
A 10 plus, you do it, no problem. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, you just look at the lock kind of hard and it opens. Yeah. And so do you just walk right in then?
Yeah, we'll just open the door, walk right in, just straight in. We were welcome.
Yeah. So as soon as you walk in to the front door, it's sort of there's an ornate foyer. There's sort of this cream-colored carpet, like velvet carpet, and it has tiny little gems and pits in it. It looks like a salted cracker almost, like a salted velvet cracker. The floor does, and then there are these tapestries, and the tapestries all have like paintings of just like really detailed landscapes of cracker on them, and then in the corner there's a barrel full of crackers, so that's what you see in this sort of foyer. And then beyond the foyer there's a door that leads further into the building beyond that. And there's also like what looks like a reception desk, but nobody's currently sitting at it.
Okay, so yeah, I'll walk over to the reception desk and start opening up the drawers, see if I can find anything in there.
Yeah. Yeah, so roll discern realities. That'll be on your wisdom. Yeah, nice. So the first thing you notice as you walk over to the desk is there's a ledger, and the ledger has names in it Beside the names, there are dates. The last two names on the list are your names. There's no dates beside your names yet, though. And so that's what you see initially. If you rifle through the drawers, you rifle through the drawers. There's quills and ink. There's pamphlets for look at my notes and remember names. For Stymie, the Lord of Crackers. In the also taped to the bottom, or well, I guess affixed. They didn't really have tape. Affixed to the bottom of the desk is a crossbow.
Okay, so I'll grab the crossbow and I'll look at Smiggy and say, "Hey, look what I found."
Ah, sweet.
Yeah. So the crossbow, if you fire it, will give you +2 damage. So.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll look at Smiggly and say, "Hey, is this place what I think it is?"
A den of pure evil. Who likes crackers? They're dry and tasteless.
At that point, I'll argue they're kind of nice when you're sick.
Maybe, but shut up.
So yeah.
Okay.
So as you guys have been rummaging around and looking, you hear the door, like you hear like a key at the door, and it's unlatching at the front door.
Is there stairs?
There's a door that goes further into the building. So you're in a foyer, like I said.
Just sprint that way.
So you want to open the door that goes further into the building?
Anything to get away from that fucking troll. That's huge.
So at that point, I'm gonna I'll apply some more poison to I'll apply more poison to the crossbow actually.
Okay. All right.
To the darts.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll hold it at the door.
Okay.
While Smiggly runs away.
Yeah.
Waiting for the door to open.
All right. So Smiggly, if you go through the door to the next room, as soon as you go through it, you see it looks like a church, like a place of worship. So there's pews and there's an altar. And as soon as you walk in, you see more people who are in the white robes sitting in the pews. There's a man in the robes like the one that you saw before. He's speaking, he's saying things like, "Oh, how the salt accentuates the crispiness of the cracker as it enters the mouth and soothes the soul. And then when you have soup and you place the cracker in it, it gives it texture and abundance, filling you with warmth and prosperity." And so that's what's happening as you walk into the room. Meanwhile, out in the foyer, Nicholas, the door opens and the troll starts walking in. Are you taking a shot?
I'm taking a shot.
Okay, so do a dex roll, but take advantage, which is an additional +1 to your roll, because you've got the drop on him essentially.
Okay.
10, yeah. So yeah, and where do you shoot him?
Right in the throat.
Okay, and then roll some damage. So it'll be your D8. Yeah, and then it'll be +2 because the crossbow gives +2 to damage.
4.
Yeah. So yeah, being a troll, maybe his skin's pretty thick. So it does go into his throat, but it doesn't go that far. You've put the oil of Taggart on there, right?
Yes.
And what does that do?
The target falls into a light sleep.
Yeah. So it hits around the necks, and he says, "What? Why you?" And he just hits the ground. Door's wide open. He's on the ground. Smiggly, as you've walked in the room and you've heard the sermon, obviously the person giving the sermon, he's got his eyes closed and he's just sort of like, has his head positioned towards the heavens as he's saying all these words. What are you doing?
I back out slowly.
Okay. Yeah. And so you back out just as the thud is happening. What do you do?
Do I get out of the room?
Well, yeah, you get out.
Cool. I'm gonna look for something like a candle, or maybe they have a fireplace. Something with fire.
Okay. So Smiggly backs into the room, Nicholas, and the troll just drops to the ground. What do you say anything or?
I'm gonna look over at Smiggly and say, "Should we finish the guy now before he wakes up?"
Help me look for fire. I'm gonna light this whole place on fire. There's a lot of people in there, and they all need to burn.
So you just want to leave this guy asleep on the ground? You don't want to kill him first?
He'll burn to the fire.
All right, sounds good to me. So I'll look around for the fire as well, for something to start a fire with.
Yeah. Since it's still sort of just like, I mean, at this point, maybe a few hours have gone by, but that only makes it like maybe 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? So it's still early in the day. There's still plenty of light. Now, there's no windows in this room, so there is some lanterns on the side of the room. So, I mean, obviously they would have fire in them. So now the base level of this is all made of stone. So now the tapestries and stuff are not. So
I'm gonna pile all of those up at the door.
which door?
The door leading into the chapel.
Okay. So you do that.
Cool. All right. So what we need to do is we need to toss this onto the pile, and then we need to get the hell out of here.
Okay, so I'll run up and I'll grab a lantern since Smiggly can't reach because he's 1.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
So I'll grab the lantern and I'll just wait for his command to throw it whenever he's ready, piling them up at the door.
Sure.
And once they're all done, I'll start heading towards the door and be like, whenever you're ready.
And at that point, I'll throw the lantern. Well, I'll drop the lantern onto it. I won't even throw it.
Yeah. Okay.
Drop it on there and
Yeah.
make sure it actually.
Yeah. I mean, it starts burning.
All right. Now let's head outside and head to the back to make sure there's not a back door. And if there is, we stab them on the way.
Sounds good.
Well, yeah. Okay. So you want to head to the back of the building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I know you have that on permanent retainer.
Well, I have to because you're one of my players.
So, you don't know this, but one of my other characters in the main game is literally an angel of fire, and she consistently lights everything on fire.
Yeah, except for I had this graphic before she even came around. I had this graphic while you were still the Furbolg.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because I had the fire staff.
Because you kept setting things on fire all the time.
Dude, I admire the creativity you guys have in this shit. It's a lot harder than I thought it was, trying to come up with things on the fly.
Well, and not everyone does, right? So it's I mean, as we sort of tangent and segue, different people have different play styles. So some people are more just come up with stuff on the spot, and some people are just more very reactionary. They're like, yeah, I mean, okay, I attack something or whatever. Here's the skills list. I'm going to use the skills. So it just depends person to person.
Right.
So like Danny is DM'd and gets frustrated when I play because my characters are all really dumb.
They're always dumb.
They're really dumb, but in different ways. I mean, I have the one that's.
I have no problems with the play style. The only problems I have are when you just consistently ask questions about things that don't actually matter.
Yeah, well, you do that. You guys do that to me too. So, turnabout's fair play.
Fair enough.
So, anyways, we'll go back to the game. So you're going out the front door. Are you stepping over the troll because he's kind of in the doorway?
Over is a bit of a stretch for me, but
you're climbing over the troll. Can you roll a dex because he's only in a light sleep that you don't wake him up.
Can I pick Smiggly up instead of him walking over?
You could, yeah. You want to do that?
So I'll just pick Smiggly up and I'll just carry him in my arms.
Okay,
that's acceptable.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you to roll a dex for carrying a halfling or a hobbit carrying a 5-foot halberd over a troll. So now you get to roll the dex.
All right, and 9.
Yeah.
That is definitely better because I have like
Yeah.
20 decks.
As you're walking out, you mostly get over the trail without any problems, except for as you make your way just out the door, the halberd slightly cuts his leg, his back leg, and he starts to arouse. He's stirring, you hear some moaning as you walk out the front door.
Have we left the room yet? Have
Yeah.
we left the house?
Yeah, you've left the house, so you're right outside the house now.
We're
Yeah.
outside already? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's continue around to the back, see if there's a back exit.
Yeah, okay. So you guys just walk around to the back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
How
definitely...
smooth, casual, like.
Yeah, there definitely is an exit back there. There's a door. So, do you just sit and wait?
I'm actually going to set my halberd slightly in the ground, about a foot away from the door.
Like, pointing in towards the door?
Yeah.
Okay. So if people run out, they run into the halberd?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
And I use myself as like a stand to keep it up.
Yeah.
So you're underneath the halberd, holding it up with the bottom on the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense. But I mean, halberds are double-edged, right? So you're technically holding a sharp end, right?
Oh, halberds are blade connected to a staff.
But I mean, the blade. Well, I guess okay. Sure. So you're holding the staff part, not the blade part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would I be holding onto the blade?
I don't know. How long is the blade itself?
I don't know, probably about like a foot.
Okay. I guess I'm imagining, because there are halberds that have like a third of it is the blade, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. All right, cool. You're just sitting there holding your halberd, and it's going to take just a little while for the stuff to come out. So it's probably like at least 5-10 minutes, if not more.
Just casually eating a piece of regular cheese.
Yeah. But you see some smoke starting to arise from the building, and you hear some clamoring, and then you hear someone yell, "Fire! Fire!" You hear rustling about in the building as sort of people are running and yelling, and then the door does fling open, and someone runs out, and it is one of the nicer robed people, runs out right into your halberd, and skewers themselves, and there was another couple people behind them. They stop immediately after seeing that, and then kind of look behind them and then look forward, and then they can obviously skirt around that person, so they go to dart around them.
So I've got my crossbow next to the halberd as well, and I shoot at the next person that comes out the door.
Okay, and you're basically catching them unaware. They're not in a battle stance, so you can just roll damage if you want.
An 8.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So you get +1 too because that has a +1. So or +2.
9.
Sorry, 9, 10. Where do you shoot? What part of the body are you shooting?
I'm shooting right between the eyes.
Yeah. You right in the skull head, forehead, and that person falls down. Then the other person who's behind him looks around and is and starts to try and run away as fast as he can. Also, then behind them, some of the white-robed, sort of servant women are sort of meekly making their way out the door. What are you doing about that?
So I'm going to try to rip my halberd out of the dead dude and hit the other highly dressed rogue person.
Okay. Roll for it.
10.
Yeah. You'll do it. Roll some damage.
6 damage.
Okay. Yeah. You won't kill him, but you'll cut him up some. How are you attacking him?
Well, he's running away, so I'm cutting his calves.
Okay. Oh yeah, I mean he'll fall over, but he won't die.
I'll run up and I'll finish him. Well,
Okay.
I'll attempt to. I'll jump on his
Yeah.
back with my 2 daggers.
Yeah,
Stab
and
his back.
he's prone at this point, so you can just roll damage.
That's some hardcore music, Mike.
Yeah, that's how we do. Yeah, so that'll finish him off. You'll kill him as he's running. So what about the servant acolytes? You just let them run away?
I will scream, "You are free to follow the chiefs!"
They just kind of run out because
Just like
fire.
throwing pamphlets at them as they're running.
Yeah, I mean they ignore the pamphlets a little bit as they run out. About this time, around the corner, you hear a "Hey, hey, what are you doing?" And you see the troll rounding the corner, and he's like, "Is that my crossbow?"
I will scream, "I will defeat you, demon of the saltines!"
He says, "Make my day," and he balls his fist up and starts charging you. Nicholas, what are you doing as they're charging at each other in grand fashion?
Yeah, so at that point, I'm pulling my daggers out of the body that I just was on top of.
All right.
And I'm running to circle around the troll.
All right. So, Smiggly, you and the troll are colliding. What are you doing?
Well, I scream my promise to defeat him, so
All right.
I'm gonna attack him.
All right, do it.
With a 12.
Jesus. Yeah, okay. Roll some damage.
D10, 3D4. That
Okay.
is 14 damage.
Yeah, and how do you hit him?
In the shins, I'm not that tall.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you hit him across the shins. It does cut him, but trolls are made of thick stuff, thick bones, so it doesn't kill him, but it does trip him up. So when you cut him across the shins, he stumbles and falls past you. Nicholas, what are you doing as he's stumbling and falling?
The troll is stumbling and falling.
Yeah.
Mount the beast, Monster Hunter style.
Yeah. I'm jumping on his neck, and trying to. I'm up on his shoulders and just trying to jab, right in the neck.
Okay, yeah. Roll an attack. You can have an additional +1 of advantage. So roll on your dex plus an additional 1. Okay. So you managed to get on his back and jab the knives into his neck. Go ahead and roll damage. And now you can roll the 2d4. And then this is technically like a backstab, so you can have your backstab boons as well.
Alright, what was that one? Hold on, give me a second. Backstab. Okay, so I can choose to deal damage or roll plus dex. Okay, so I'm gonna roll plus dex on this one.
Okay.
Okay, so that's an 8. On a 7 and 9, choose 1. So I'm going to deal your damage plus 1d6. And then I do another damage roll. Is that how that works?
Yeah. All right, cool. So yeah, I mean, you embed your daggers pretty good into his neck, he cries out. He's like, "Ah, stupid elves!" And he reaches back behind him and grabs you, and chucks you against the fencing that's behind you, you take 4 damage as you hit back first into the fence, and the daggers are still in his neck, so you don't have them currently.
Okay.
He stands back. Huh?
Did the bow fall off my back as I hit the fence?
No, you still have it.
Okay.
And he manages to stand back up and pulls the daggers out of his neck, and he tosses them off to the side a little ways away, and then starts charging at the both of you, swinging wildly. Can I get you both to roll a Defy Danger? You can roll on Dex or Strength.
9.
11.
Cool. So yeah, like I said, he's swinging wildly. He's just
Never
like
forget.
swinging his fist, and he just barely grazes Smiggly, and 3 damage as his fist sort of just like graze across you, and then Nicholas, he goes to like sort of uppercut you, but you evade. How do you do it?
I'm rolling through the uppercut,
Okay.
right past him,
Yeah.
towards my daggers.
All right, cool. Yeah, you managed to like, scoop up your daggers in the process, and Smiggly, as he's grazed you with his fist and tries to uppercut Nicholas, what are you doing?
I'm going to slip between his legs, and I feel like it's been a while since we've done this much. I'm
Okay.
gonna stab him in the butthole
Okay. Yeah. I mean, roll for it.
with a 6.
Yeah. As soon as you like roll through and go to stab him through the butthole, he farts on you, and it's the vilest, most rankest, disorienting fart in the world. And you pass out for like a turn, right? It literally knocks you out, and you take like it hurts your lungs, like it's like acid to your lungs. One damage internal ignores armor as you breathe it in. Nicholas, what are you doing as this is going on? You scooped up your daggers. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I've scooped up my daggers. I'll turn around. I'll draw my bow, and I'll take a shot.
Okay.
I'll try for an eyeball.
Okay. Yeah.
Try to go to the sight.
Yeah. Roll on dex. Dang. All right. Yeah. Roll some damage. And you get +2 to damage because or the crossbow, right? So yeah, 7. All right. So yeah, you shoot it and it hits him in the eye, and he says and he just like growls, and he like closes his eyes, and then like his eyelids break the arrow, and you know it's still like the arrowhead is embedded in his eye and he's bleeding from it, and he says, "You little," and then he starts like charging for you, and he like jumps up in the air, like, you know, Hulk style with his fist raised behind him, and starts bearing down on you. Roll a defy danger with your dex. $13. Yeah, I mean, how do you subvert his roll? In fact, you can counterattack. So how are you going to do it?
Yeah, so I'll sidestep to the right side of him.
Yeah.
Assuming I hit the left eye.
Yeah.
So it'll be his left side, my right.
Yeah.
So out of his vision.
Yep.
At that point, I'll sidestep to the right, get low, and I'll try to slash his Achilles
Okay.
down
Yeah.
by the ankles, try to pick up his legs.
Yeah. Just roll some damage. Yeah. You slice open his Achilles, and he falls to one knee. Because when he comes down, his fist hits the ground. It creates a small little crater. You slice the Achilles, and then he falls to one knee after that. Smiggly, you wake up, and you see him down on one knee as Nicholas sort of like just like whizzes by, you know, having just sliced. In fact, you see the trail of blood in the air from the dagger as it's swiping, and it's just like slow motion, like slicing through the air with blood behind it, and it's spurting forth from his Achilles, and his knee is hitting the ground. What are you doing?
I guess I'm gonna stab towards the back of his head with the halberd.
Okay, roll with advantage.
How am I rolling with damage?
+1 to your strength roll.
12.
Yeah, roll some damage.
D10. 3d4.
Yeah.
Ooh, 15.
Cool. Yeah, you're gonna murder him. So describe it for me, right?
I see the blood flying in slow motion. I slowly look over. I see the back of his head.
Yeah.
And since I'm grabbing onto the end of my halberd, I just whip it up and then stab forward.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it pierces the back of his skull, right into his brain, and then then he starts falling over. I mean, halberd still in hand, still in his head. And
so I fly up into the air.
yeah, he just whips you up. Whee! Then you're gonna land okay though. Do you want a superhero pose or whatever when you land?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. And do you like superhero pose on top of his body?
Yes, but I instead of the normal superhero pose, it's in a full split.
Okay. Like legs front and back or side to side?
Side to side.
Cool. All right. Yeah. You land full split. You know, there's a moment where it's almost like the sun is shining behind you, and then it's not. And there's a lot of commotion outside now. You can hear people screaming and running, and you can kind of see off to the side people just running away from this building. What do you want to do while all that's going on?
I'm gonna lay a slice of B's cheese on the steps and say, "We gotta get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, I would agree. I'm more worried about the rest of the guys that are around the pond. I'm curious where they're at. I'm more worried about those lightning fast guys than this troll.
Alright, should we try to scale the wall?
Yeah, that would work.
All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, roll dexterity for scaling the wall.
11.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you guys.
I used my halberd to pull the vault over
Yeah.
the wall.
You guys hop the wall and land on the other side. As soon as you land on the other side of the wall, you hear a voice. It sounds almost like it's coming from the inside of your head, and it says, "No one torments my children. Prepare yourselves, mortals, for the wrath of the cracker god Stymie." And the earth starts rumbling underneath you, and a fissure opens up in the ground, and from it arises what kind of looks like a gingerbread man, but made out of cracker, right? Just coming up out of the ground, and he's like, 20 foot tall, and he has this like grimace on his face, and he has like salt chunks for teeth, and he's he's rising out of the ground, and let me get both of you to roll Defy Danger on Dex.
8.
Cool. He takes his hand and he swipes, and he catches Smiggly a little bit, right? You're dodging, but he hits the halberd and whips you around and causes you to fall on the ground. But you're only taking 2 damage when that happens. And then how does Nucleus get out of the way as he's swiping?
I'll be doing a quick back step.
Okay, yeah.
Nothing special.
And as soon as he's done swiping, he pulls his hand back, and he pulls both hands out and just screams out in rage. What do you, Nicholas? Because you dodged, what are you doing?
I'll counterattack.
Okay.
I'll try to slice the cracker hand, one of the fingers.
Okay. Yeah.
See
Roll.
if I can get any damage on him.
Roll an attack. Yeah. Nice. Roll some damage. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you chip away a little bit of cracker when you swipe at it. And he pulls his hand back a little bit, his cracker fist, and then he starts punching towards the two of you. Sniggly, what are you doing as he's starting to punch?
I'm gonna pull a flask of water out of my adventuring gear and toss it on the fist to soften it up before it hits us.
Okay, yeah, roll a dex for basically throwing it.
8.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get some wetness on his fist that's happening, and it does soften some of his hand a little bit as he's punching, and um, it's enough to where he makes a little bit of contact as you guys are dodging, but it's a little bit squishy, and you don't take any damage. And then he pulls his hand back and starts shaking it, and he says, "No, not water."
That's why cheese is better.
Yeah. Then he takes his other fist and shakes it, and 3 little crackers come off of it and hit the ground, and then 3 little cracker dogs spring forth and start circling you. What is Nicholas doing?
I'm yelling over at Smiggly to release the bees.
They don't listen to me. They're here for support.
So at that point, I'll run over and I'll smack the hive off of his back.
Okay, yeah.
To hopefully get the bees to come out of the hive.
I guess. Roll charisma.
8.
Yeah. So
That's pretty good with a minus.
yeah, yeah, it is. The bees start pouring out. A few of them mistake your attempt for an attack, and so you get stung by a few bees, not a lot though. And so you take 1 damage as you're being stung by bees. The rest of them come out and they just start swarming around though, and they're just sort of making a cloud of bees. Smiggly, what's up?
Smiggly's gonna look over at Nicholas and be like, "Deal with the dogs. I'll take the giant."
Cool. And then what?
He's gonna scream, "I will kill you!" I'm gonna attack it.
Okay. Roll an attack. Okay. And then roll some damage. How you attacking him?
I guess I'm gonna saw away at its legs.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, so you start sawing at his legs, and it is wearing away slowly at his little cracker, his giant cracker legs. He, after you've sawed for a minute, he takes his hands and he claps them around you, and you take 7 damage as he claps you with his salty hands, and some of the cracker gets in your mouth.
I immediately throw up.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Nicholas, the cracker dogs are surrounding you, and they're running in to do an attack. What do you want to do?
I'm going to do my best elven attack with my bow.
Okay.
I'll try to rapid fire 3 shots at the dogs.
Okay.
1 arrow at each dog.
Okay. I guess roll for each dog, I suppose.
All right. First dog, second dog, third dog.
Okay. And then roll damage for each dog. Okay. Yep. All right, cool. Yeah, the first dog you obliterate, right? The second dog leaps up at you, and your arrow goes through it, and it manages to sort of bite you on the way down, but then it sort of crumbles just past you after it bites you, and you take 4 damage. And then the third dog that you turn around, whip around, and shoot at, you shoot off one of its legs, and it falls to the ground, and then starts scooting back up to keep coming at you. Meanwhile, Smiggly, you've just thrown up because you've had cracker in your mouth. What are you doing?
I guess I'm gonna start trying to scale it and just hack away at whatever bits I can get at.
Okay, so you're trying to climb up him?
Yeah.
I roll a dex, I guess.
9.
Cool. So yeah, you start climbing up him, and it'll take you a round essentially to get up. So because he's moving around and swatting at you and stuff. So you're kind of having to like maneuver. So you'll just be climbing him for a minute. Nicholas, the one dog who you shot his leg off, is sort of like still trying to get at you. So he kind of gets on the 3 legs and does like a 3-leg gallop. It's a little more like slower because he only has 3 legs. So you have a moment to react before he reaches you. What do you want to do?
Yeah, so I'll go for a hack and slash.
Okay.
On the dog.
Yep. Yeah, you just roll an attack. All right, and then roll some damage. Cool. So yeah, you'll ultimately. So you're hitting it with your
With my both daggers.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you he jumps at you, right? How do you kill him? You're gonna kill him.
So I'll do one slash in the throat with my left.
Yeah.
And I'll stab the body with my right.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. When you do that, he sort of gets obliterated into like cracker dust. But salt gets in your eye. It's a sad day. So 1 damage, disregards armor of salt in the eye. Yep. Real quick, can you both roll Defy Danger with your dex?
Yeah.
Nice. Yep. So the Stymie reaches one hand up to the heavens and creates a fist, and then just like pulls down, and suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere and comically so, a cracker meteor descends upon the earth and hits it, leaving a giant crater. Right now, because you're on him, Smiggly, it doesn't hit you because you're actually on him. Nicholas, you're gonna get caught up a little bit in it, so you're gonna avoid a lot of it, but like some of it's gonna catch you. How is this happening?
As I'm rolling away, it'll catch my leg, left leg.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So a part of the cracker meteor does catch you. Does so for 3 damage. Catches your leg as you're rolling away, and now you're a bit of a distance away from the cracker god Stymie. Meanwhile, Smiggly, all this is going down, and you're hacking away at the Stymie. Are you just doing regular attacks, or what are you trying to do?
Have I reached towards its head yet?
Yeah, you're within reach of its head at this point.
Cool. I'm gonna pull out another bottle of water and I'm gonna splash its face.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Roll Dex for accuracy.
7.
Yeah, you definitely get some water on his face, and it's as though you threw acid on his face, right? If you were a person, you threw acid, and some of it melts away. And he screams and sort of claws at his face, and while he's clawing at his face, he bats you and hits you away, and you hit the ground. And when you hit the ground, you hit it for 6 damage, and rolls a little further away, and he yells out, "Insolent fools! You will bow before my power if it's the last thing I do."
I'll turn to Nicholas and be like, "His weak point's his face."
Yeah. So he holds his hand out, and then a cracker sword forms in his hands. And then he goes to swipe at both of you. If you could both roll Defy Danger with your dex.
3.
Yeah. So
it just fall like the equivalent of 40 stories for me.
Yeah. So he catches you both with his cracker sword for 10 damage each. And it's full of like salt and stuff too, so it burns. And it's dry. And you guys both get sort of like sliced up. Don't forget that you have the level up ability, just as a reminder.
Yep.
And so you guys get cut with the cracker sword. What are you doing?
Yep, I'm leveling up at that point.
Yeah.
I'm to 1 HP, so.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you dig down deep inside you. Smiggly, you find what you knew was already there. You find the power of Aristasis? Aristaus?
Aristasis.
Aristasis?
Aristasis.
Hairstyles, whatever. You find that power. You feel invigorated. You feel the cheese flow through your veins. They're clogging your arteries, but you still feel good anyways. And then I feel like Nicholas, you find something you never knew before, right? You feel a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, and you feel, if nothing else, that like nothing but cheese matters. So for both of you, the air around you begins to just like swirl and coalesce, and your hair starts
kind of like Buddha.
And your hair starts flying, and both of your hairs just turn the color of cheddar cheese, and you're surrounded by an aura, and your health goes back to full. You get to attribute one more point to your stats at this point, and you get an additional ability. We'll say in this moment, you can pick an ability from anywhere on the list. It doesn't have to be specific to your level.
Okay. So with the extra point, would I apply it to the modifier for Dex if I'm already capped?
No, yeah, you can't. Well, the extra point is just for like the big number, right? In Dex, you can't do any more to Dex, so you can apply it to something else.
So how would strength play into this? That's the damage, right?
So strength is for anything you're like, like if you're trying to lift something heavy or whatever. In this point, as a thief, you're like attacking with your Dex. So, I mean, Dex is going to be your primary stat for most things. So it's sort of. I mean, you can throw it on your charisma. I mean, at this point, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I just did. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I threw it on my Constitution to get an extra HP point.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that. And like I said, you can choose an additional spell. Meanwhile, as you guys are glowing and whatnot, Stymies says, "No, followers of Aristasis, the cheese god, my nemesis, I will destroy you." And he starts screaming also. He goes, "Ah!" And the ground is shaking. And a cloud of salt just swirls around him. And his sword glows with crackery intent, whatever that is. He pounds the ground, and the earth shakes beneath him, and he starts running towards you. You know, the footsteps are heavy. It goes boom, 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 and he leaps into the air with his dagger pointed towards you and starts descending upon you. What are you doing?
I scream, "Crackers of shit!" and swipe at him.
All right, yeah, roll an attack.
8.
Cool. Roll some damage.
D10, 3d4.
Dang.
And Nicholas on the next turn is going to get plus 1d4 damage and take 1 forward against him.
Nice. Okay, cool. Where are you pointing your halberd as you're attacking him as he's descending upon you?
I'm gonna level it right towards where the cracker sack is.
Cool. Yeah. So he's coming down. He's going, "Ah!" And his cracker dagger or his cracker sword slightly cuts you as he's coming by, so you take 6 damage as that happens. But as your halberd pierces his cracker nuts, he goes from going to going, and kind of like tucks and rolls on the ground as he stumbles from just being cut in the cracker nuts. Nicholas, what are you doing?
At that point, I'm running towards the fight because I'm quite a ways away at this point, right?
Yeah.
And I notice as I'm running, my daggers are now lit up.
Yeah.
Based on the newfound power, they're glowing, which gives me extra 1d8 damage. There's more damage overall with Dirty Fighter.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm running up, around the back side, and I go to dive the back of his head.
Okay, yeah. Roll your attempt, and you can take an advantage. You take another +1 of advantage. So, I mean,
yeah, he gets +1.
Yeah.
Forward for him.
Yep. And so, all right, cool. And yeah, just roll your attacks, all of them. So this will be a backstab.
This will be a backstab.
Yep.
Yes.
And you get an extra 1d4 from me too.
Yeah.
All right, so help me out here. There's a lot of numbers going on.
Yep. So you get the 2d4 from your initial attack, right? You get the d6 for, was it Dirty Fighter or whatever it is, and I think you can take extra damage for the backstab, right?
Okay, so there's that. Okay, so that's that. 1d8. And then the backstab.
So
I think that's it.
okay.
You get another d4 from my tandem strike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that everything? Yeah, regular attack is 2d4. The 1d8 for the Dirty Fighter.
Backstab damage, right?
That you need backstab damage too.
Backstab damage. It has 1d6. Okay.
Okay.
Like Phil Swift says, that's a lot of damage.
So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And also, because it's a 15 plus, would you like to do an additional d6 of damage opening yourself up to attack?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, roll a d6. Yeah, that's all you needed. You only needed one. So yeah. You're going to murder the ever-loving crap out of him with your glowing newfound cheese powers. You explain to me how it happens, man. Tell me how you murk his ass.
Yeah, so I got around the back of his head, and it's just rapid fire shots to the back of his head, and it just explodes in cracker goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the cracker just sort of, he turns into tiny little crackers all over the ground. He just, you can hear him, he goes, "No! What a cruel world! Cruel world! A cruel, cheesy world!" As he, breaks into tiny little crackers all over the ground. Then after that happens, suddenly the heavens open and down descends Aristaus from the heavens and all of their cheese and bee glory. A chariot of bees whisks them down, there's just like a horn of plenty, but it's just full of cheese on the back of the celestial cart. And Aristaus says, "My children, you have done for me this day a great service. I want to commend you on the elimination and vanquishing of Stymie the Cracker God, sending him back to the bowels of the Netherrealm where he belongs. He may one day rise again, but his reign of terror is over for now. And forsooth, look, the town of his followers as it burns to the ground. Oh, what a glorious day it is. You shall never know hunger again, for cheese shall always rain down from the heavens wherever you are." And he says, "You are truly the greatest of my followers." And then proceeds to ascend back up into heaven.
I fell to my knees and I was like, "So long as I can always worship you."
Yeah. That happens, right? The town burns down, and you guys are sort of triumphant. I think as a prologue, we cut to a month later. You're in a new town. Well, I only used like one panel for this entire thing. I have like 12. So
We needed the one.
yeah, you find yourself in a new town about a month later, and all the people there are wearing these sort of green and yellow robes that look a lot like corn husk. And someone walks up to you and says, "It's corn, big lump of knobs. It has the juice." And then we fade to black.
Before we fade to black, I'd lean over to Nicholas and be like, "Electric Boogaloo."
So, yep, and that concludes the session, right? So that was good. Yeah, it's fun.
Glorious little romp into weirdness.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's one shots are like that. So Zach, how was your first tabletop experience? All right, I hope.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, cool.
Different, you know.
Yeah.
Again, it blows me away how you guys come up with some of this shit.
Yeah, Dungeon World's a lot easier to be like super creative with than like regular tabletops. Because regular tabletops, you've got roles for like half the stuff. Yeah. Which isn't a bad thing, but like
it just depends on the kind of game you want to play, right? I mean, if you want to play a super serious game, then like Pathfinder or D&D is probably more the jam. But I think Dungeon World is probably best suited to one shots. I mean, we run a full campaign on it, but like I think one shots is where it shines. Because you can like pretty much do stuff on the fly. I had, the only preparation I had is like I have all the slides for like different scenarios, but I didn't even need those, right?
Right.
Didn't even need them, and that was the only preparation I did whatsoever. I mean, everything was just sort of like whatever you guys told me. That's what we were doing. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how much more chaotic does it get when you have more people? I feel like it's just a lot going on at once.
Yeah. So, well, more people actually kind of slows it down some.
It's depending on the length of the thing too, because we've had 4 and it go pretty quick too.
Right. Well, we've done 9. I've had 9 players before. Because when we did the large group sessions, we did 4 sessions. So we did well, first of all, I'm going to close the stream. Bye, stream. Thanks, Brazil. We'll see you next time.
You don't get the behind the scenes.
No behind the scenes for you. Sorry. Bye bye.